Two teams battling for SCIAC supremacy, and after tonight, only one will sit at the top of the SCIAC rankings. It's the Panthers and Tigers next on the Chapman Broadcast Network.
Go.
All right, we're live here at Chapman University in Orange, California. The lights are on, players are suited up, and fans are fired up here at Wilson Field and Ernie Chapman Stadium, moments away from the Chapman Panthers taking on the Occidental Tigers. And as we welcome you into the broadcast booth, I'm Sam Miller. Alongside me is my colleague and good friend, Gardner Royce. Gardy, a big game tonight, probably the biggest game they've had since that Week 1 game against 5th-ranked Linfield.
Yeah, Sam, you said it. Coming on the heels of that 58-0 dominating homecoming victory, the Panthers are certainly going to be looking to replicate the success they had on both sides of the ball. Offensively, they averaged 38.5 points per game. That leads the SCIAC conference. Key to that is the running a game. We're going to talk about that a little later in the broadcast.
Right, this offense has been stellar this season and definitely a huge topic for this Chapman football team, but the conversation cannot end there without mentioning D coordinator Coach Bishop and this stellar Chapman defense. These guys are fun to watch.
Absolutely. Greg the Tank Johnson, senior linebacker, one of our favorite players on the Chapman defense. Those guys, they play smart, they play quick, and they play aggressive. They try and force turnovers as much as they can. They have 6 interceptions on the year. They hold opponents to 19.5 points per game. That also leads the SCIAC. Expect them to have a good, tight game tonight.
All right, well, it's Saturday Night Football. Does not get much better than this. I'm fired up. I know Gardy's excited. When we come back, we'll have kickoff underway. You're watching the Chapman Broadcast Network. All right, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again. I'm Sam Miller. Alongside me is Gardner Royce. Beautiful night here at Ernie Chapman Stadium, and the Panthers are just now taking the field. All right, then we've got our third member of our broadcast. We're going to go to our third member of our broadcast team in a little bit. And as of now, the Chapman Panthers are heading out onto the field and giving that Panther a good luck touch before we start this game. I'm excited, Gardy. What do you got for us for our keys to the game tonight?
All right, Sam. Yeah, we talked a little bit about this in the pregame show, but some of what we're going to be focused on today is the running game. If the Panthers are able to establish the run as they have throughout the season, then they should be able to dictate the tempo of the game. We could like to call it the three-headed beast. Kean Stansel, Jeremiah McKibbins, and Cody Chappell all potentially can break it. They could all be starting for the Panthers. By having those 3 running backs, though, it creates a defensive scheme nightmare for an opponent who doesn't know which running back they're going to face. Then containing the run is huge. The Panthers have the best rush defense in the SCIAC conference, which is going to be huge tonight because for the Tigers and Kwame Doe, one of the best running backs in the SCIAC, that's going to be the matchup that, for us, we're going to be watching all night. And finally, maintaining the intensity and finishing the game. That's all
right, now we've got the captain's meeting at center field. We've got senior quarterback Michael Leahy, Greg Johnson, Sam Layton, and Chris Colladell for Chapman side ball. Just about 2 minutes left until we kick this thing off. And it looks like someone's declined. We don't know who yet. And it appears Chapman is going to be recovering the kickoff, and they will kick off in the second half.
And coming into this game, both teams undefeated in SCIAC play. That's a huge storyline. The Panthers, after last season's 8-1 season, a heartbreaking loss to Redlands, which prevented them from getting that conference championship. That's all they've been talking about this year. Right. But for Occidental, that's the same thing they want. stay undefeated in conference play, win out the rest of the season.
Right, they had a big win against Whittier last week, and they're going to be hungry as, as last season they finished right behind Chapman in the SCIAC standings. I was speaking to Coach Doug Simonis on the Occidental side of the ball before the game, and a big focus for them is going to be stopping the run tonight. All right, Chapman's going to take the field. Looks like we've got Devin Kelly and Noah Rivard returning the kickoff for Chapman. And on the Occidental side of the ball, kicking off is number 25, Max Gruber.
Yeah, so for all of you watching at home, these are the two best teams in the SCIAC Conference. Doesn't get much better than this. About to kick off. We are seconds away from this SCIAC showdown to determine the supreme team.
That's right. SCIAC supremacy is on the line tonight. Both teams coming in hungry, and two teams that do not like each other. Expect a physical one here. All right, we are underway here at Chapman Stadium, and the kick is off. And it's picked up by Chapman, and he's brought down around the 26-yard line. All right, taking a look at the starting lineups for Chapman, and looks like we've got Leahy at quarterback, and Gardy, that tough offensive line's been doing a great job all season.
Absolutely, that's something that they've been, every time we talk to them, whether it's a running back, quarterback, they say how strong this offensive line is, led by senior Chris Colladell. He has those guys playing hard, playing physical. That's one of the main reasons, if not the main reason, their running game has been so successful this year.
All right, so here's Chapman on 1st and 10, and Leahy in the gun. McKibbins to his left. Gives to McKibbins up the middle, and he's got a big gain. He's going to take it down to the 40, looks like the 49-yard line, and that's a 1st and 10 and a good start for these Chapman Panthers, Gardy.
Yeah, Sam, I mean, we talked about it pregame. We talked about it right before kickoff. They're going to get that offense going, and you see they're going to get right back at it.
And the up-tempo here, going with the hurry-up offense. Leahy back to pass now. And this one's caught by Spencer Jordan on the quick dump route. That's another 1st down for these guys. Ball inside the Occidental territory now. Continuing with that hurry up. Leahy in the gun once again. It's a pass to number 85. Anthony Isakune. Isakune, one of the biggest guys on this Chapman team, and they love getting him the ball, don't they, Gardy?
Yeah, absolutely. But what you see they're initially doing, they're getting that run established on the first play, then they're going to pass. You know, what they like to do, especially with Leahy, he's great at passing on the run, those short hitches, those 5-yard passes that then forces the defender to make the tackle.
3 first downs in a row so far. 3 plays, 3 first downs. Leahy back to pass. He wants Myers, and it's going to fall incomplete. And they want the flag on that sideline down there. They're not going to get it. Looks like coverage by number 26, Cruz Riley. And taking a look at the defensive lineup for Occidental, they're going to be led by inside linebacker Chapman, who's having a great season thus far. And 2nd and 10 for the Panthers. Give is to McKibbins. He's got room. And tripped up by safety, number 31. That's Nicholas Mungia on the tackle. Chapman moving the ball very well on their first drive of the game.
Yeah, always great. You know, Jeremiah missed all of last season due to a knee injury. He's coming back. Great to see him having success these past few weeks.
And McKibbins reminds me of a young Gio Bernard, the way he moves the ball and carries it. And Leahy keeps it this time, gets up the middle for a 1st down, maybe 3 or 4 yards. And the ball is going to be down at about the 15-yard line.
Yeah, one thing you see there, you see Leahy keeping the ball himself. That's a testament to that offensive line. Whether it's McKibbins or Leahy or Stansel, they can move the ball on the ground. They're going to do that all night.
1st and 10 from Occidental's 15. Leahy back to pass. He's going to scramble, and he's got room to work with, and trucks an Occidental defender. Wow, what a run by Leahy. And you know, Gardy, we've talked about this. He can do it with his feet as well.
Absolutely. One thing, though, that you do see there, you know, it's kind of unique in a quarterback, that toughness to take the hit and keep going. That's why the players love him. They know he's going to fight for every yard, every down.
So here we are, 1st and goal. Leahy in the gun once again. This time it's McKibbins up the middle. Is he in? Touchdown, Chapman.
And
a
just
Jeremiah
like
McKibbins run.
Just
what a great
like
job
that,
by these guys.
the Panthers are on the board. They did it with McKibbins. We talked all pregame about it. They're going to get the run game going. Here you see McKibbins with the carry, gets some yards, punches it in even with the contact. You know, I talked to McKibbins at the beginning of the season. He wasn't fully healthy. He's still feeling his legs, getting healthy, getting back to football shape. But each week he appears to be getting stronger, making his cuts, reading the blocks. Another great run by McKibbins, who currently leads the SCIAC in rushing touchdowns. Add another one to his stats.
Yeah, we've been calling McKibbins' number all season long, and probably going to be calling it a lot more tonight. Marcus Trujillo gets the extra point. Chapman leads this one 7-0. 12:53 into the first, and what a start for these guys.
Yeah,
great job.
Once again, they didn't leave. They picked up right where they left off against Pomona. Virtually unstoppable on that first drive. 65-yard drive, took a little bit over 2 minutes, 4 run plays and 2 pass, but it was that ability to run the ball that set up those passes and led to the McKibbins score.
All right. Looks like Lucas Alfonso is going to kick this one off for the Panthers. And Occidental is going to be hungry after that first drive when Chapman's getting the momentum. A nice crowd tonight, not as big as our homecoming crowd last week, but still some good amount of fans in attendance, and it should be a fun one this evening. And the kick is underway. Occidental's going to catch it about the 5. He's going to stay on his feet and get brought out of bounds around the 17-yard line. And the Chapman defense, Greg Johnson and the Chapman defense take the field.
Yeah, Sam, we talked about the tank earlier on. Greg Johnson, senior linebacker, he's the leader on that team. You know, we talked about it a little. Johnson talks that they are, you know, one of the smaller units that you might see in the SCIAC conference. They make up for that with speed, aggressive, hitting the ball, trying to force turnovers. Expect them to do that early on.
And here's our first opportunity to see Kwame Doe, who's Occidental's main running back, and he's done a great job so far this season. Here's Brian Scott in the gun. He's going to throw, and he's got his man in the flat and pushed out. And that looks like it's number 7, Devin Bullock. And brought down by number 26, Drew DeMarco.
Yeah, some interesting comments. I talked to some of the defensive players this week leading up to the game. They said Doe runs a lot like the offenses, the running backs they've seen earlier in the season, except quicker, stronger, faster. They have a lot of respect for this guy.
And I remember specifically they were talking about him similar to Pomona's running back. Here's Scott rolling out to his right, and he's going to go for number 7, Bullock once again. This one falls incomplete as he overthrows him there. And that's going to bring up 3rd down and 6 for Occidental.
Yeah, and that was one thing last week that we saw the Panthers able to do. Play strong, hard football throughout all 4 quarters. They were playing until the final seconds. They forced a turnover right at the end of that game, you know, when they're up 58-0. Says a lot about their defense.
Scott in the gun once again, and Doe to his left. Looks like we've got a false start on Occidental. That's
False
number 14, Caleb Mitchell. That's going to bring them back.
Number 14, 5-yard penalty.
One thing, both sides of the ball for the Panthers, they talked about limiting their mental errors. Earlier on in the season, sometimes they weren't finishing the games. They were making some unforced errors that negatively affected their performances. They've cut those out specifically last week.
Now they're faced with a 3rd and 11. The ball is on their own 18-yard line. Scott takes the snap, rolls out to his right, tries to get it over to number 18. Number 17, rather, Jack Neary. That one falls incomplete, and that's going to bring up a 4th down for the Tigers.
Yeah, that's senior Sean Davey on the coverage. He's had a really strong season for the Panthers. He's a physical player. He's a tough player. Spoke to him earlier. He said he loves playing the corner position because it allows him to take the risks and then get the reward.
And pardon me, that was Sam Stokel on the intended pass that fell incomplete. Stokel's currently leading Occidental in receptions so far this season with 23, so they're going to go to him a lot tonight. Jimerson here to catch the punt for the Panthers. And they're going to stay away from this one, and it's going to go out of bounds around the 45-yard line. So Chapman getting good field position once again as they come out for their second drive of the game.
Absolutely. The Panthers have done exactly what they wanted on both offense and defense. First drives for both of the teams, very, very strong. We'll see that offense again, maybe McKibbins, maybe Stansel this time. Expect them to run the ball again. We're going to see a lot of the run this game.
And we saw Blair Jimerson back there to catch that punt. And he had a huge game last week against Pomona. 6 catches, over 100 yards receiving, and 2 touchdowns. So we'll see if they go to him again tonight. He's lined up at the flanker on the left. All right, now we've got Leahy in the gun once again. 1st and 10 on their own 45. McKibbins to his left. And the give is to McKibbins this time. He takes it up the middle, makes a nice cut, and tackled by number 21, Teron Mahini for Occidental. It's going to be about 2nd and 4.
Thanks. That was a great drive for the Panthers to start off with. Wednesday before the game, and he told me that they prepared for this game like they've been preparing for every other game. He said they're taking it on a game-by-game basis and treating every game like it's the most important game of the season. He also told me their preparation doesn't really include a lot of specifics about the other team, more so just coming out, giving their best effort, and playing their best Chapman football. He believes if they can do that today, they'll be able to come out with a win. That's all I've got right now. Sam Gardy, back to you.
Hey, thanks, Sammy. Great job. Now, you guys just missed a huge play, but it was Cody Chappell on the screen pass, took it down inside Occidental territory, and now they've got the ball, right around their 30-yard line going in. Leahy in the gun once again. This time Chappell's to his left. And the gives to Chappell, brought down and tackled for loss. That was number 42, Malcolm McLeod.
Yeah, that's not something you see a lot with that offensive line. That offensive line, they protect Leahy, they protect those running backs, and you see Chappell busted open for one of those long runs of his. I talked to Stansel earlier in the week, and he said that Cody Chappell does not go down. If you hit him, you better wrap him up, because that man is not going down easy.
Leahy in the gun once again, this time back to pass. He's looking, he finds Jimerson, makes a nice cut, takes it down the sideline, and he's inside the 10-yard line, right around the 8. Wow, a great move by Jimerson right there. And this is what he's been doing all season long.
One of the things about the Panthers, they have explosive playmakers that once you get the ball in their hands, whether it's Stansel, Jimerson, Jordan, they can make plays, make the defender miss, get some yards after the reception.
That's supposed how you make that play. You catch the ball, take it to the outside, down the sideline. Here's Leahy once again, 1st and goal. Leahy looking, finds no one open. He rolls out to his right, and incomplete. Intended for, looks like Myers.
One thing we've seen throughout the season is Leahy's ability to make good decisions on the run. If he gets forced out of the pocket or if it's a play action and he's rolling, he has a good ability to either look downfield or drop it off to a running back to get up some extra yardage instead of having a loss.
And as we know, that makes it tough on the Tigers, who have to cover their receivers for even longer if Leahy's moving around in the pocket. Let's take a look at the previous drive coming up later after this play. Leahy back to pass. He finds Myers. Does he get in? Tackled by a gang of Tigers. It looks like we've got an injured Panther on the field. And he gets up. He gets up, however. All right. Let's take a look at the previous drive, last drive. It looks like we have two passing plays and 5 rushing yards, and total of 74 on that touchdown. Knocking on the door once again, 3rd and goal, 2-back set now. Looks like they got the jumbo package in there. And the give is to McKibbins, who is stopped short. Number 16 for Occidental, Devin Chapman with the big play, and we said he's one of their big playmakers on the Occidental side of the ball is Devin Chapman, who got in there in the backfield to make the stop on that play. 4th and goal, offense still on the field. Looks like they're going to go for it here.
Chapman, once they get into that red zone, they're extremely good at scoring. 95% of the time, once they're in the red zone, they're going to score the ball. That actually leads to Skyac as well, so they're very dangerous when they're in striking distance.
Two-back set once again. Looks like the jumbo package is in. Leahy with the rollout, and it's a touchdown. Number 15, Lewis Volk on the play. A great job rolling out to get the ball to him. Gardy?
So Sam, we'll see that in replay, but that's exactly why that's exactly why you keep running the ball, because that defense was expecting run the whole time. Leahy rolls out, fakes it. They are not ready at all, and he fires in a perfect touchdown pass. That's why you get the run going early, so you get that defense reacting to the run, and then you hit them with the pass when they're not ready.
All right,
Chapman once again
gets the extra point, and Chapman's on top of this one, 14-0, and we've still got 9 minutes left to play in the first quarter. So a good start for these Panthers. But going back to that play action pass, I love when they do that near the goal line. It's such a trick play because they think the run's coming, and he sneaks around the back edge and he's wide open. So great call by this Chapman offensive coordinator, and they're up 14-0 early.
To the Occidental Tigers' credit, when you have a rushing attack as potent as the Tigers, they average 265 yards per game, as we talked about. That's the most in the Skyac. You have to respect the run. And so if McKibbins gets the ball as he did on his first possession, you have to believe that he's going to take it in there. That's what happens when you have a great offense, a great potent playmaker like Leahy, like McKibbins.
Alfonso once again lining up to kick this one off. And it's caught by the Tigers around the 5. He's going to return this one. And brought down by a host of Chapman Panthers. Brian Scott, looks like there's a flag down. We'll wait to see what the call is.
Maybe some extracurriculars on the play. Our sideline reporter was down on the field, and she heard the Occidental coach giving a pep talk before the game, telling the players this is going to be the most hostile environment that we play in.
Right, I mentioned it earlier. These are two teams that do not like each other. Pretty close by. It's only about an hour-and-a-half drive up to Occidental, and these guys have been playing each other for 3 years in a row.
After the play was over,
they're not happy with each other right now.
Personal foul on the kicking team, number 38.
Looks like a personal foul on the kicking team. 15-yard penalty.
First down.
Against Chapman.
That's one of those mental errors that the Panthers have been harping on all season. They want to avoid shooting themselves in the foot. They're playing really, really good football here on both sides of the ball. But then when you have an error like that, it's an unforced error. It moves the ball forward for the Tigers.
All right, number 18, Brian Scott in the pistol formation, it looks like, with Kwame Doe behind him. And the give is to Doe this time. He takes it up the middle and brought down early by a host of Panthers once again. This time it's number 56, Giovanni McDonald.
Talk about that aggressive Chapman defense. You see, when a running back gets the ball, instantly you have a host of Chapman players cracking down. They want to hit him. They want to bring him down.
All right, looks like we've got a pistol formation once again. It's due once again, and he gets a few yards on this one, a few more than last play, and brought down by number 43. That's Nick Mingioni.
You talked about the teams not liking each other, especially since they both play extremely physically. A bruising running game, that's how both of the teams score their points. This is going to be a tough 4 quarters of football.
So a huge third down and about 4 here for the Tigers to see if they can get back into this game without Chapman running away from it early. Scott back to pass. He goes to his other side to number 14, and he's brought out of bounds. That's going to be a first down. That's number 14, Caleb Mitchell, on the catch and gets around cornerback Drew DeMarco, who was shaken up on play.
The Panthers are getting penetration past that offensive line, but just a little bit too late. They hit the quarterback as he threw the ball, but wasn't enough to prevent the first down.
All right, they go trips to the right. Tigers trying to spread the ball out early. Scott in the gun. Scott back to pass. It's quick. And Sean Davey there on the coverage. That one falls incomplete, intended for number 23, Cordell Harris.
We'll see whether the Panthers defense is able to stop this. You know, the drive started with a penalty. It's never good. You never want to start your drive giving up free yards like that. See if they can react, get their offense back on the field.
So Tigers moving the ball a little better than their last drive, just now inside the Panther territory. Scott in the gun once again, and Kwame Doe to his right. Scott back to pass, gets it out to Doe in the flat, and brought down by Greg Johnson and a host of Panthers.
That was Greg Johnson and Osa Akinbari. Here's Occidental's starting offense. Keep your eyes on number 18, the quarterback, Scott. He is a very, very good young quarterback.
And also keep your eye out, I mentioned it earlier, number 19, Sam Stokel. He's going against a cornerback, Drew DeMarco, who's way shorter than him. So we'll see if Stokel can make some plays and they can target that side. It's 3rd and about 8 for the Tigers. Scott goes deep to DeMarco, and that one's out of bounds. An overthrow by Scott, but like I mentioned it just prior play, Gardy, they do like to go to this guy.
Scott absolutely lit up on the play. And I think, Sam, you have a little connection to Drew DeMarco, played some high school football with him.
That's right. Well, I actually played against senior cornerback Sean Davey in high school, and he's been making plays like that ever since. So. And looks like it's going to be 4th down for the Tigers. It's a quick kick to Jimerson, who's going to receive it about the 7. He's going to return it. A great move. And a flag is down on the play as he gets brought down around the 16 or 17-yard line.
Yeah, Jimerson, one of those players that we were talking about earlier, an explosive guy. He can hurt you so many different ways. That's one of the things that a lot of the guys were talking about in the week leading up to this game and earlier in the season. You have a lot of guys that are very hard to scheme against for a defense. And so offensively, this defense, the Tigers defense, they have to respect the ability of the Panthers to run the ball. They also have to respect Leahy's ability to not only run the ball, but also make good throws.
On the return
he
team,
reads
number
defenses
80.
really well.
He's
He's not afraid to put the ball on the ground, drop it off to his running backs or wide receivers.
All right, looks like we've got a holding penalty on the return team, which was Chapman. That's going to move them back. They're going to spot the ball around their own 9-yard line. And one thing about Jimerson, it really makes this Chapman offense two-dimensional. We know they've got a great running game, but with guys like Jimerson, guys like Jordan, it gives the ability to pass as well. So Chapman starting this drive in their own territory. Let's see if they can get out. Looks like they're spotting the ball around the 4-yard line.
Another unforced error by the Panthers. That's a few of those in this first quarter. Now they start in the shadow of their own end zone.
Leahy in the gun. And the give is to Chappell, who gets a couple on the play. Looks like he gets right around to the line of scrimmage. Tigers defense doing a great job there getting to the ball.
You know, spending time with some of these players and coaches this season, I can tell you that they are not happy with some of these flags that are starting their drives now on offense and then on defense with unforced loss of yardage.
It's going to be second about 9 from the 10-yard line. Leahy in the gun. It's given to Chappell once again, who gets a few yards.
Interesting comments by Stansel. You know, he's been here now with Jeremiah McKibbins 3 going on 4 years. He said that Jeremiah is probably the most well-rounded running back on the team. He said Cody Chappell is an extremely tough player. You'll see he gets the ball right here. He's going to keep churning those legs until he gets going.
So a 3rd down and 5 for the Panthers. Leahy back to pass. Looking. He's got Myers at the sideline. Ooh, almost makes a nice one-handed grab, but can't get it. That's going to be a 4th down, and looks like the Panthers are going to punt.
That Chapman offensive line getting tested a bunch this game. Leahy got hit as he threw, still able to get the pass off, a little bit overthrown on that, but we'll see. That'll be a good matchup, that defensive line for the Tigers against this experienced veteran offensive line for the Panthers.
And that's one thing that is going to be great about this game is the physicality up front. It's going to be a battle that is won in the trenches. The punt is away. And they're going to let this one roll. It's going to be down by number 17, Devin Kelly, for the Panthers, who seems to get his name called every time he's on special teams. He's been doing a great job this year for them.
I was going to say the same thing, Sam. Kelly always seems to be the first guy down the field, making a tackle, making a key block. It's great when you have those guys making impacts on special teams, on defense.
So Occidental, they've been passing the ball so far in this game, Gardy, and we thought we would see more of Kwame Doe, but so far he's been quiet.
Well, talked about this in the pregame. The Panthers' rush defense is the best in the SCIAC Conference. They hold teams to 115 yards per game on the ground.
And the pistol set, two-back set, one to his right, and it's a play action. And a nice screen play on the bubble route. That's number 7, Devin Bullock. Looks like they went to a play action and then hit him on the bubble screen. That's a first and that's actually a second and short for the Tigers.
All made possible by the great block by number 19, Steckel, on that, allowing the receiver to get on the outside.
So first and 10 actually for the Tigers. They go with the bubble screen again. Devin Bullock once again. So same play they just went to prior, but on the other side. They're really trying to get the ball in space to the wide side of the field so far. And in the last 2 plays, it's worked for them. It's going to be second and about 7 for the Tigers.
The difference on that last play, Junior Drew DeMarco didn't get blocked on that play, was able to push the ball carrier, the wide receiver, out of bounds.
Scott in the gun once again. Give is to Kwame Doe. And a great call. I've been saying it since the beginning. Coach Bishop does a great job calling this defense. He sends safety Sam Layton on the blitz right there, and he gets in and makes the tackle, so they only pick up a short gain.
And alongside him, who is it? The tank, Greg Johnson. You'll see he stands him up. They all play physical. These are some strong dudes down on the gridiron.
All right, so 3rd and 6 for the Tigers as they try to battle back down 14-0. Scott in the gun, Kwame Doe to his left. A double set. Oh, almost intercepted, and it's caught by number 5. That's Samuel Kreiser. He makes a nice play, breaking the tackle, and that's a huge gain for this Tiger offense.
Not at all what the Chapman defense was hoping for, as these Tigers trying to claw their way back into the game late in this first quarter. And here you see on the replay, almost looked like it was going to be picked off.
All right, now we've got another 1st and 10 for the Tigers. Scott back to pass. He's going deep. He's got a man. It's number 19, Sam Stokel, and he catches it around the 4-yard line. Wow, a great catch by Stokel, and what a play that was.
That was an absolutely incredible catch, Sam, on that. You see Osa all day, Ikambare coming over. Looked like he might have a play on the ball. Just a great grab by the senior wide receiver.
And a great throw by Scott as well. They gave him the cover 2 look, and he put it right in the window where they knew he couldn't get it. It gives to Doe up the middle, and he'll get a couple yards, brought down by number 7, Greg Johnson. It's going to bring up 2nd and goal.
The tank churns along. You're going to see him on almost every defensive play. He'll be somewhere around the ball. That's why he's that leader on defense. But yeah, Sam, you said it. Check out this incredible catch. Stokel goes up there. Osa comes in to make the hit. Not enough to prevent Stokel from coming down with another key reception. And this Tigers offense is moving the ball very well against Panther defense.
That's right, Gardy. They're attacking these corners, and it seems to be working for them thus far. All right, 2nd and goal from around the 3-yard line. And it's a quick pass to Stokel again. And broken up. Great play this time by number 23, Sean Davey. And we hit on it earlier. I played against Davey in high school down in the San Diego section, and he's been making plays like that ever since those high school days.
Yeah, interesting thing that we've talked about earlier in the season, Davey, growing up, since Pop Warner used to play safety, only recently that he actually switched to corner because the Panthers needed someone to play corner. He's a senior, very strong player. He loves it. He relishes the ability to make those big plays, and you see that right there. He's preventing that touchdown.
So 3rd and goal for the Tigers. Looks like they've got number 5, Sam Kreiser, in at quarterback. And he fakes the handoff, and it's a quick play. Sam Stokel gets the touchdown. Wow, so he fakes the run. Looks like Tim Tebow right there. Sam Kreiser fakes the run and then dumps it over the top to Stokel for the touchdown. What a call by this Occidental offensive coaching staff.
Sam, you took the words out of my mouth. Looks like vintage Tim Tebow, but we're not in the swamp. This is Wilson Field at Ernie Chapman Stadium. Stokel pulls it in. He kept that drive going with some incredible catches, and the Tigers are right back in it with 2:31 to go, clawing their way back in this cat fight in orange.
Alexander Graves up for the kick, and it is good. Devin Kelly, our special teams player, almost in there and make the block. So 2 minutes and 30 seconds left to play in the first quarter, and we're at 14-7. So an impressive drive by the Tigers, finally being able to move the ball right there.
So one thing we've seen throughout this game is the Panthers' ability to defend the run. On that last play for Occidental on the last drive, they ran the ball 2 times, opting to pass it 6 times for 58 yards, ends up for the touchdown. We'll go to break now, but when we come back, more from Wilson Field at Ernie Chapman Stadium.
Welcome back. I'm Sam Miller alongside Gardy Royce once again. And his kick is underway, and it's in the end zone. Devin Kelly makes the catch, and it's going to be a touchback.
So just like that, Occidental is back in this game. We'll see how the Panthers' offense responds, whether they'll go to the run again. The offense really not seeing any troubles moving the ball against this Tigers defense. We'll see if they're able to respond, get that lead back up to 2 possessions.
And taking a look at the previous drive, 6 passing plays, 2 rushing plays, total for 65 yards, and a great job passing the ball by this Occidental Tiger offense. Leahy in the gun, McKibbins to his left, and they're going to start at their own 25-yard line. Give is to McKibbins. He takes it down the right side, and he's got room to work with. And a great play by McKibbins, and a flag is down. A 15-yard pickup on the play, but it could be coming back after this penalty. Officials discussing what the call is going to be.
There are 2 fouls on the play. Holding offense number 83, that penalty is declined. Holding offense number 85, that penalty will be enforced from the spot of the foul. Replay first down.
So 2 holding plays called against Chapman on that one, and they'll decline the first, and that's going to bring them back once again, Guardian. They've been making these mistakes early on, and it seems it's not helping them out any bit.
Yeah, especially when you have such a great offensive play like that. You see McKibbins, how fast he is once he makes that first cut, gets through the zone.
So it's first down, 1st and 12 for the Panthers. Leahy back to pass, looking, and he finds Anthony Izakune once again. He's got 2 catches so far this game, and that's a nice gain for a first down to the Chapman 40-yard line.
Both teams looking to pass the ball early on here.
And Leahy on that last play with tons of time. O-line doing a great job. 1st and 10 from their own 40. Give is to McKibbins. And he's got room to work with once again. McKibbins brought down by Chapman, number 16 for Occidental. That's another big gain, and that's another first down. McKibbins so far looks great, Gardy.
McKibbins just looks like he's getting better every single week. Looks like he's more confident. He's more willing to take a hit. He's never one to shy away from contact. He always talks about that. But another great run for the junior running back.
Here's 1st and 10 from Occidental's 42-yard line. Looking to the sideline for the call. And the give is to McKibbins once again, and he's got room once again, making a great move right there. Wow, this guy's fun to watch.
And we talked about it, those explosive playmakers. Look, McKibbins coming out, Cody Chappell going in. But McKibbins having a really great day early on. He just keeps getting better. It's always great to see him doing well, coming off that season-ending.
So the Panthers moving the ball very successfully. Here's 1st and 10 from their own 30. And Leahy rolls out, gets it to Izekune, who drops the pass on this one, and it falls incomplete. It's going to bring up 2nd and 10, driving inside the Tiger territory on the Tigers 30.
Absolutely. You talked about it a little bit. That offensive line, they've been pretty strong today as well. Here you see Izekune just barely missing that. Goes off the tips of his fingertips. It's for the 6'5" tight end, and Leahy's been targeting him often this game.
See, 6'5", I would not want to cover him. Leahy in the gun once again, 2nd and 10. He's looking this time, can't find anybody open, scrambling in the pocket, and he's going to run, and he's got room to work with. Down the sideline, heading towards the end zone, dives down at the 1-yard line. What a play by Michael Leahy. Wow.
Absolutely impressive. The senior quarterback, we talked about it. If he doesn't see the option, he can take off with his legs. He had tons of time. Look, he's scrambling around, he's dancing, then he decides to take it. He takes it all the way down, almost breaks it in.
And gets flipped. Here's Cody Chappell, 1st and goal, and he gets in. Oh, he fumbles the ball, and it's picked up by Occidental, and they're whistling it dead. And the Occidental coach is going crazy on the sideline.
Confusion down on the field. Some people saying he crossed the goal line. We'll await.
Prior to the ball coming loose, the runner scored a touchdown.
All right, so it's a touchdown Panthers after the confusion. Occidental not happy, but they'll take it as they go up 20-7 as we close out this first quarter. Cody Chappell up the middle, and the ball's going to pop loose, but the play was already ruled dead, so that's a touchdown.
Yeah, but that play all made possible by Michael Leahy's ability to adapt. Once the play had broken down, he's dancing around in the backfield. Then he just decides, he commits to it, gets the ball down there, and then once again, the running game able to just punch it in. McKibbins, Chappell, who's next?
Trujillo tacks on that extra point, and Chapman's going to go up 21-7. And 23 seconds left in this first quarter. Chapman looking great so far offensively.
Looking great, but avoiding disaster on that final touchdown run. If he had popped that one out, the only guy preventing them from taking it to the end zone was Leahy. But as we saw in the homecoming game, Leahy got a personal foul. The teammates loved it. The defense, they said he's not afraid to get the contact. That's why they love him as that senior leader. He puts his body on the line for Chapman every week.
All right, so we've got number 25, Max Gruber, and number 23, Cordell Harris, back to catch the kick for Occidental. And then Lucas Alfondo set to kick for Chapman.
So on that drive, they ran the ball 4 times, deciding to pass it twice. That's a little bit more common, more what we're used to with this Chapman offense, whereas the previous play, they were passing more.
6-play, 80-yard drive ain't bad, though, Gardy. Kick is up. And Harris is going to catch this one. Harris has got some room. He's tackled down by a host of Panthers right around the 26-yard line.
No, and that's one of the things. Although their rushing attack has been extremely successful and is one of the main reasons that they've had so much ability to control the tempo, to control the dictate the flow of the game, they also do have a very strong passing attack led by Leahy.
So this Occidental offense comes out, and you know Coach Bishop made some adjustments on that last drive as they moved the ball very easily on their way to a touchdown. So Scott in the pistol once again with Dew behind him. And Doe gets a carry for about 2 or 3 yards on the play. Oh.
Yeah, Doe not really having as much success as expected coming into this game, but once again, while Doe is one of the best running backs in SCIAC. And here we see the game summary, the end of the first quarter. Great, extremely competitive game. The Panthers dominating on passing yards and rushing yards. Obviously, the score reflects that. We're coming up on break, but when we return, we will bring you the second quarter here at Wilson Field, Ernie Chapman Stadium.
21, Panthers 7. All right, so we're going to start the second quarter with the Panthers leading 21-7. And Scott in this pistol formation once again and trips to the right. He's going to fake the handoff to Doe. And Scott's scrambling around, can't find anyone open. And this one is fallen incomplete. And Scott's slow to get up after the play. It's going to bring up 3rd and about 7 for the Tigers.
Junior Drew DeMarco coming around the back, almost had a huge hit. Could have potentially forced a fumble, but Scott was able to get the ball out.
Big 3rd down for the Tigers coming up here. We'll see if they can move the ball and get out of Panther territory, because that is not where they want to be, or they're in their own territory rather. This time in the gun with Doe to his right. Doe rolls to his right, and he looks for Stokel. Pass falls incomplete. So they're trying to go that hitch route once again with Stokel, and this time they can't find him, and now the Tigers are going to have to punt.
And you said it right before the drive started, Bishop, making some key defensive adjustments, so that they weren't able to replicate that success they had. Davies, DeMarco playing better coverage.
And a better job by that defensive line of putting pressure on Scott to get to the quarterback, so he's got to get the ball out. Jimerson back to receive the punt for Chapman. And the kick is away. And Jimerson's going to pick this one up and run to his left sideline, pushed out of bounds right around the 21-yard line. And Chapman's going to take over at their own 20.
Once again, this Chapman offense hasn't had too much of a problem this game so far, moving the ball extremely easily, specifically with that running attack led by McKibbins.
All right, so Leahy and the offense take the field. Kean Stansel in the game now at running back. We talked about that 3-headed monster, and he's been making plays all season as well.
Kean the Machine Stansel played quarterback as a freshman. Now he's playing running back, and he is good at it.
Leahy with the give to Stansel, who takes it down the right side. Gets a few yards on the play, and he's brought down. Looks like a fumble. And Occidental is saying they've got it. We'll see who comes up with it after the scrum. And now they're calling 2nd down.
When talking to Stansel earlier on in the week, he said one of his strengths is his speed, his elusiveness. You know, when he's able to get on that outside, like where he was headed right there, he could beat you.
2nd and 7 for the Panthers. Leahy in the gun. Looks like McKibbins to his right. McKibbins goes up the middle for a nice gain.
Yet again, that offensive line just providing great blocks for McKibbins, for Leahy. They pick up all these blockers extremely well, which is why they've had such considerable success this year. Here you see those linemen always staying active, looking for the next person to block to give those skilled players that ability.
He was tackled by Nicholas Mungia, who sees he's got to get involved in the run game, playing back at safety if they want to be able to stop these guys. Leahy in the gun on 3rd and short. Give his to McKibbins up the middle. Looks like he's going to get the first down on a 3-yard pickup. And Chapman's going to move the ball.
And now taking a look at this quarterback comparison for today. Michael Leahy, 6 of 10. Byron Scott, 8 of 14. They're identical on their total offensive yards, but Michael Leahy getting that touchdown, and that's really what matters at this point.
And the give this time to Stancil, who's got a big gain down the sideline. He's got room to work with. What a run by Kean Stancil. Gets past that first level of the defense, and a huge gain right there. It takes it down all the way to around the 19-yard line.
Kean the machine, putting it into first gear. He is speeding down there.
That was Kean Machine right there for sure. Now Chappell's in the game. That's what makes this Chapman offense so multidimensional. They've got the passing game. They've got so many running backs. Everyone's always fresh. 1st and 10 from the Tigers 21. Leahy rolls to his left. Gets out to Myers on the hitch route, who tries to get up the sideline, and he's brought down by number 24, Chad Shizumura.
Yeah, once again, we talked about it, but Kean Stancil, the ability to beat you with that speed. And then once he makes the first defender miss, it's as if it just gives him more quickness, elusiveness, busts another extremely large play. We've seen that all year.
And it looks like about 2nd and 2 for the Panthers. Stancil once again gets a nice gain for the first down. Looks like we've got a flag down. We'll wait to see what the call is on that. And if this is against the Panthers, that's going to set them back and not what they want to have when they've got this momentum. Officials discussing the penalty.
Awaiting the call, but still you see this Panthers team focusing on the run, as we knew they would and as they have all season.
Personal foul, face mask on the defense.
So it's actually 42. Against the Tigers, a personal foul. Panthers dodge a bullet there. A face mask called on Occidental, and the ball is now down at around the 4-yard line.
The Occidental defense really having a hard time to get anything going for them, especially when you're facing Kean the Machine Stancil in the backfield.
All right, so now we're looking at a 1st and goal from the 4. He's got Myers in the slot on his, actually Spencer Jordan to the slot in his right, and Myers at flanker on the left. The give is to Stancil. Gets a few yards but can't make it in, and he's stopped by linebacker Chapman for Occidental on that time.
Like we talked about earlier, once this Chapman offense gets into the red zone, they see green and they go. Really, really good at executing, at punching the ball in.
Devin Chapman, the junior linebacker from Dallas, Texas, making the stop. He's done a great job for them tonight and been making plays for them all season. So it's 2nd and goal from about the 2. And the give is to Stancil, and he's in for the touchdown.
Coach Owens rewarding Kean Stancil for that huge run with a couple gives. He knew he was going to find it. He smelled the end zone. Stancil in yet again.
It was all Stancil on that drive with the huge run to set them up inside the red zone, and then gets the 2-yard touchdown run to cap it off. Chapman leading right now 27-7 before this extra point, but what a drive for this Chapman Panther football team.
We talked about this in the pregame show. The Panthers do not have any problem scoring points, averaging 38.5 points per game this season. They're already at 28 tonight, and there's still 11:20 to go in the 2nd quarter. So more of the same for the Panthers.
So we're going to send it down to our reporter, Sammy Harrelson. Sammy, what do you got for us down on the sideline?
Hi guys, an update on Tyler Nesbitt, who was helped off the field after the last offensive scoring drive. He went over to the table, was worked on with a trainer. They said something about his peroneal muscle, which is what connects to your ankle. They were testing that out. They taped it up. Right now he's running on the sidelines, practicing, exercising with it with a trainer watching. It looks like he should be able to go back in the game. I will update you more as we get more information. Back up to you guys.
Great job, Sammy. Thanks for that update. We'll keep an eye on him tonight. And Panthers set to kick this one off. It's Alfonso once again. And for the Tigers, it's Cordell Harris and Max Gruber. And the kick is away. Gruber catches it around his own 4. And brought down on the play by looks like number 59, Devin Ray.
Here, take a look at Chapman's scoring drive on their previous drive. Rushing the ball 6 times, only passing it once, for a total of 80 yards, 2 minutes, 18 seconds. They got in and they got out. The Chapman offense really doing what they want.
That's the common theme for this Chapman offense. 6 rushing plays and only 1 pass play on that drive. That's what they do and that's what they go to. So if Occidental can't figure out how to stop it, they'll be doing it all night. Scott on 1st and 10 from his own 26. Back to pass. And he's got Doe in the flat. And a big hit by Greg Johnson. I could hear the thud from up in the box up here. A few yards on that one.
The tank keeps on chugging. Greg Johnson once again at the center of that play. This defense, like you talked about, Sam, make some adjustments early on after that first score. Here you see Greg Johnson coming in to ensure that Doe does not gain any more yards.
All right, 2nd and 8 for the Tigers. Scott back to pass. Gets this one to Harris. And just short of the first down, so it's going to be a 3rd and 1 for the Tigers. Currently 28-7 with 10 minutes left in the second quarter. So Chapman holding all the momentum on their side of the ball right now. 3rd and short for the Tigers. Scott in the pistol formation with Doe behind him. Trips to the right. The give is to Doe up the middle. And it's going to be close. We'll see where they mark it. Looks like they're spotting the ball right up to that marker. And we could be doing a measurement. Yep, an official timeout.
Official timeout for a measurement.
They're going to bring the sticks out so we can measure this. And we're going to toss to break, but when we come back, we've got more action. You're watching the Chapman Broadcast Network. Welcome back, and thanks for joining us once again. I'm Sam Miller alongside colleague, good friend Gardner Royce. So after the measurement of the official timeout, they ruled it a 4th down and short. And they've got that hybrid quarterback, running back, Sam Kreiser, in at quarterback. So we'll see if they quick kick this one or what. Kreiser fakes the jet sweep handoff, and he gets a couple. I think he might have enough for the first down, but we'll see where they rule it.
The Tigers looking to the run, and they get the first down.
And that's going to do it. That's going to move the sticks. Sam Kreiser kind of uses their Tim Tebow, as we said earlier. When he's in the game, he can pass. I think he kicked one earlier as well on a 4th down for a quick punt, but he's kind of their utility guy on that side of the ball. Now he's lined up at receiver on the top of your screen on the left. Scott in the gun, a 2-back set. Doe to his left. 1st and 10. And Tigers are going to call a timeout. And that's going to be their first timeout of the half. Just 9 minutes left in the game to play.
Tigers still looking for something offensively to get them going. They got that early score, but the Chapman offense is proving to be too much, too often for this Tigers team. The score 28-7 with 9:05 left in the second. We talked about it in the pregame, Sam, but Chapman on the ground doing everything they want. The Tigers really haven't been able to seemingly stop them at all. It's what we saw last week against Pomona, seeing at different glimpses this season, but seems like this team is really clicking right now, coming into full swing.
Yep. Well, you'll notice some pink coming from the cheerleaders' pom-poms and some players with pink spats tonight around their ankles. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, so some players have decided to wear pink tonight in honor of breast cancer awareness. And here's a look at what McKibbins did last week. A great running back for this Chapman Panther football team. And here's Scott on 1st and 10. Scott with the give. This time it's number 25, Max Gruber. So Doe leaves the game and Gruber enters the game as he picks up a couple on that play. And a great tackle again by the host of this Chapman defense.
Chapman defense getting a little dinged up there. We talked about how physical this game would be. The running plays by both the Tigers and the Panthers maybe having a bit of a toll.
2nd and 8 for the Tigers on their own 39-yard line. Scott in the gun, Gruber to his left. We got a flag down on the play. Looks like it's going to be false start.
False start.
Yep,
Offense,
false start against the Tigers.
Number 19, 5-yard penalty. 2nd down.
It's a 5-yard penalty, and it's going to be 2nd and about 12 for the Tigers now.
Just went Occidental, getting their offense going. Unforced error, forcing them back. It's got to be frustrating for the Tigers.
Definitely got to be frustrating for them. Coach Simonis was not happy over there on that sideline, and he wants to avoid as many mistakes as possible tonight. Scott in the shotgun, Gruber to his right. Doubles formation. Scott gets it over to Gruber, falls incomplete. That's going to be 3rd and about 12 for the Tigers now. And Scott can't really get into a groove right now as he just overthrows Gruber on that play.
Chapman defense doing a really good job in secondary. You can see Scott trying to find open players, trying to find some reads. That defense covering the receivers and the running back very well. And you see Davies getting into it a little at the end of that play.
Yep. So here's this big 3rd and 12. Ball is marked on the 34-yard line. Scott back to pass. Scrambling, nearly sacked, gets it away though. This one falls incomplete, but a great job by this Chapman defensive line at getting to the quarterback. And it looks like Alex Rory was the one who made the play at the end of that. The D lineman out of San Jose.
Talking a little bit about the secondary. One of the things that helps with that is also when they get such great penetration. This defensive line for the Panthers is doing a really good job at busting through, forcing Scott to make some bad decisions. We've seen Doe not really be able to get into a rhythm.
So the Tigers are going to have to punt. Jimerson back to catch this one. And the kick is away. A nice punt. Jimerson gets it and dances around a little bit and gets up the field down the sideline to about the 40. And a nice return by Jimerson. Chapman's going to start with good field position at their own 40-yard line.
An electrifying player. He can make you miss anytime he touches the ball. You talked about it earlier, especially as a wide receiver. He gives that offense versatile look, and you see stops, makes his cut, and even when someone's wrapping him up, he just keeps churning.
So a little bit more of a separation score than we expected in this one, Gardy. Chapman doing a great job in this first half with this big 3-possession lead.
Absolutely. Coming into this SCIAC showdown, we maybe thought it was going to be a little closer, but the Panthers doing what they've been doing lately this season, just running the ball. Occidental really having a hard time to deal with it.
Leahy in the gun. This time it's the jet sweep to Noah Rivard. He's brought down in the backfield. So Panthers mixing up the play calls on offense. This time it doesn't work. Maybe a nice call by Doug Simonis on the defensive side of the ball for Occidental.
And for the Panthers.
Noah Rivard, the freshman out of Fountain Valley, California.
For the Panthers, it looked like that play could work. They missed a few blocks on that right side, allowing Occidental to bust through, prevent that from going downfield for some more serious yardage.
Second and about 12 for the Panthers here. And the give is to Chappell, who's got room, gets down the right sideline for a first down, about to the other 40 of the Tigers. A great run by Cody Chappell, and seems like Occidental can't really figure out how to stop it, Gardy.
Well, we talked about that. How do you scheme for a team when they have three different, actually, pardon me, in the homecoming game, I believe we saw 8 different people take handoffs, but specifically McKibbins, Stansel, and Cody Chappell. The defense has to adjust because they all have such different styles of running. Look at confused.
Terrell Dolberry is in there now at back for these guys. It gives to Dolberry. Takes it up for about a 3-yard gain, and a flag is down.
Speaking of running backs who, other than that main 3 that we talked about, Dolberry coming off a huge homecoming game. He had 2 touchdowns and 67 yards. He's another running back that can hurt you as well. But once again,
offense number 55, 10 yards from the previous spot, replay first down.
A holding penalty.
Holding penalty called against the Panthers on this one. That's going to send them back a long way. It's going to be first and about 20 from their own 48. So a big, big penalty for this Chapman offense here. And that's something Coach Owens said he wanted to avoid mostly coming into this game, is those stupid penalties that you know you can correct.
Small mental errors that then can wipe away a huge run by Chappell, just like that.
Sean Davis to his right, Dolberry to his left. The give to Dolberry. And he's tackled for a loss on this one. And a great job. And he picks up the ball, but he's going to be ruled down. That's 51 for the Tigers. Zach Heerwagen out of Los Gatos, California.
With the 2 best teams in the SCIAC Conference facing off here tonight, Chapman and Occidental, we'll take a look at the SCIAC. Chapman atop the conference, then Occidental right below them, and Redlands, one of the biggest rivals.
So second and about 18 for the Panthers. It's Leahy. He finds Myers over the middle, who gets brought down after about a 3 or 4 yard gain. But yeah, both teams looking pretty good in the SCIAC right now, and Redlands also looking very good in the SCIAC. They knocked off Kowloon last week, so depending on how they do tonight, could set up the rest of the SCIAC standings picture for the season going on.
Well, and last year, that Redlands loss for the Chapman, that being their only loss of the season and preventing them from winning the SCIAC Conference as Redlands went on to take that championship.
Third and about 19. Leahy back to pass. This one falls incomplete as he's almost sacked on the play.
Feeling the pressure, Leahy threw an extremely short pass.
And that one intended for junior Hakeem McGrew out of Inglewood, California.
One thing that we haven't seen as much this season is the Panthers throwing the ball far down the field. You see a lot of short hitch passes, 5-yard passes that then allow the playmakers such as Jimerson, Myers to create some space. Haven't seen as much long throws from Leahy.
So Trujillo away to punt this one. Gets it up. Looks like Harris to return it. And Harris drops it. Looks like he's going to recover it, though. Occidental's going to keep the ball, but a scary moment there for that Occidental sideline.
Almost a huge play for the Chapman special teams, recovering that, giving the ball back to that offense. But here we see the defense again. The defense has now been playing well the last few drives, making some key adjustments like you talked about, Sam.
So 4 minutes left to play in the half. Chapman with 28, Occidental with 7. They need to convert on these next few drives if they want to stay in this game. First and 10 from their own 25. In the pistol formation, Dew gets this one quick out, and it's dropped. It's dropped by number 5. That's Sam Kreiser. And is a mistake that this Occidental team wants to avoid. You know, I spoke with Coach Doug Simonis before the game, and he was saying in order to move the ball in this Chapman defense, it's a numbers game. If they put 8 in the box, we're going with the pass. If they give us a look that we think we can run the ball, we're running the ball. So he's basing it off of what they're giving him and what they're showing him. 2nd and 10 from their own 25-yard line. Trips to the right. Scott gives it to Doe. He's brought down after a short gain.
The Panthers tonight have said no can do for Kwame Doe. He has not been able to get going. That was something coming into the game we thought they might be able to do. But this Chapman defense really good at stopping the run. That defensive line great at seeing the read, getting to the ball quickly.
It's a 3rd and about 9 for the Tigers. Steckel at the bottom of your screen. We'll see if they go to him here on this 3rd and 9. Scott back to pass. Going over the middle to Harris. This one falls incomplete.
Great coverage by Johnson, who appears to be walking gingerly. You know, if he got dinged up earlier, we talked about the physicality of this game. A lot of hits. We'll see. Hopefully, that would be...
Chapman's going to take over after this punt. 3 minutes and 55 seconds left in the second. Chapman still leading 28-7. And Sam Kreiser back to punt for the Tigers.
And once again, the Panthers defense coming up huge, having very, very good showing the last few drives.
Kreiser gets this one off, and it's not a very good punt. Jimerson still takes it, though. Gets a few yards up the field. He's got room to work with. And a nice return by Jimerson, who seems to not want to take a fair catch ever, as there was some traffic going on when he caught that ball.
And then after he starts running, he's too quick. He's too quick for the rest of the special teams. He's outrunning his blockers, so he wasn't able to pick up their blocks. Still gets a great return off of something that looked like it was a broken play. As you see, he cuts to the middle, but he's running in front of his blockers.
And that play brought down by number 64, Andrew Clary, out of Yucaipa, California, junior offensive lineman. So Leahy comes out once again just before the half, 3 minutes left to play. And McKibbins to his left. Jimerson at the top of your screen. And it's a play action. Gives to Anthony Izakune. And we might have a roughing the passer call as a flag is down. Is that 3 catches for Izakune tonight? He's having a great game.
Leahy targeting the 6'5" tight end a lot this game. And yeah, you said it, we'll wait the call.
I saw Leahy down getting up after the play, so that's what makes me think it's roughing the passer, but we'll see what the call is.
Roughing the passer,
Yep.
number 33 on the defense, 15 yards added to the end of the
So
run.
that's a 15-yard penalty. Marcus McDuffie, the freshman linebacker, just making a freshman mistake there with the roughing the passer on Leahy.
We talked about how hostile this game would be. Neither team likes each other. A lot on the line with both teams undefeated, wanting to stay undefeated, Skag. But that's something that you just can't do. You can't give a team, especially down 28-7.
So tight end and doubles on the left side of your screen. Leahy is going to scramble on this one. Gets maybe 2 yards. Brought down by number 36, Matthew Maheel, out of Arcadia, California. The 6'2", 190-pound sophomore linebacker. So, 2nd and about 9.
One thing some of the Panthers running backs also talked, and Leahy as well, is the running back's ability to pick up the blitzers. So for McKibbins, who's been around for a long time, the ability for him to protect Leahy is crucial.
Leahy back to pass, this time looking for Jimerson. Can't get it to Jimerson, and a big hit by Occidental, and Jimerson is slow getting up. Wow, that was safety. Number 33, McDuffie, once again. 2 big hits back-to-back by him. And it's going to be a 3rd and 9 for this Panther offense.
Impressive of Jimerson to be standing. He took a hit on that play.
It's one thing we mentioned earlier. There's that hit right there.
Looking up for the ball. Oh, absolutely, just hits his head. It's a tough player.
Jimerson gets back up and gets ready for the next play. 3rd and 9. Leahy scrambles, can't find anyone open, and this pass gets swatted. And a flag is down on the play once again. We'll see what the call is. But a nice play swatting down that ball for the Tigers.
Are we in Houston? He's channeling his inner J.J. Swat.
That's right, Gardy. J.J. Swat slated to be that Defensive Player of the Year, and that was looking like him right there.
Offense, number 73. The penalty is declined. 4th down.
So we've got a holding on Chapman, and they're going to decline that penalty on the Occidental side to bring up 4th down. And the field goal unit comes out onto the field for the Panthers.
So this Occidental defense is actually having some considerable success against the Panthers offense. Haven't been able to do as much rushing the ball as they had previously. Still up 28-7 with 2:42 left. Looking to score, add 3 more.
Marcus Trujillo lined up for about a 38-yarder. Kick is up. And he got it. It is good. So with that, 2 minutes left, 2 minutes 38 seconds left to play in the half. Chapman leads this one 31-7. So they don't get a touchdown on that drive, still manage to get points, Gardy.
Absolutely, and especially when you get a penalty like that, the holding penalty after the swat down from Leahy. Still good that they're able to tack on 3, but like I said before, the Tigers defense has been getting to Leahy. That offensive line for the Panthers not able to protect him as much as they have. The running game was going well early on. We'll see if they can get back to that later on in the second half.
So, Gardy, I want to ask you, you're the sports writer for this football team. You've been covering them for about 2 years now. What's different about this year's team and the mentality in years past?
So they have 24 seniors on the team. So there's a group of guys who have been here for 4 years now, who have been here before the team was in the SCIAC conference. And they talk about that is a huge thing because it increases the competitive level. They're playing for something. They have the rivalries that now with the Redlands, with the Kowloon, with Occidental. And it makes the games matter more. And so there's a reason that they want to get ready for these Saturdays.
And 2 good seasons thus far. A huge hit. My goodness. Number 38, Leah Lampert. Wow.
He took the wind out of the entire stadium here.
So, some big hits in this Occidental versus Chapman game thus far, and Gardy, that fires me up, man.
But going back to the thing about the seniors, one thing that they all talk about is they recognize that last season they went 8-1, extremely close to winning that SCIAC, and so this season they see it as an opportunity to do something really special that the team hasn't been able to do. That's win the SCIAC. They also talk about receiving some more national recognition for their play.
So 1st and 10 for the Tigers after that huge hit by Lampert. Scott back to pass. And Greg Johnson, a short dump over the middle to number 14. That's Caleb Mitchell, but Greg Johnson says no thank you.
And the tank keeps churning.
That's right,
Greg
Gardy.
Johnson
Tank
is not empty.
Yep.
That's their first time out.
This defense responding well with 2:23 left and a timeout, getting some chance maybe to rest up. Both teams play quickly, they run the ball. We talked about this being a physical game. We'll see in the 3rd and the 4th quarter. A key that they talk about all season is being able to finish games, especially when they have the lead. They talk about when you have a team on the ropes, not getting complacent, not getting lazy, actually finishing the games, closing them out once you already have them down.
So coming up this halftime, scores 31-7, 2 minutes left to play. We catch up with Connor Svetley on the Chapman football team, and we'll have more coverage later on. Scott in the gun. Gets this one quick to Harris. And he gets out of bounds right around the 26-yard line.
You'll notice number 21, Osa All Day Aikenbare. He's one of the better players on that Chapman defense. He got an incredible interception last week in the end zone, diving catch. We talked to him after the game, and he said it was about time. He had some opportunities to make plays for this Chapman's defense, was able to pull it down that game. They have 6 interceptions on the year.
3rd and 4 for the Tigers. Scott Looks to throw for Kreiser. He's got him. And a nice catch by Sam Kreiser on that play. Brought down by number 26, Drew DeMarco. Kreiser does a good job of getting leverage on DeMarco to make that play, but another great pass, putting it right where only Sam Kreiser can get it by Scott.
Absolutely, and one thing to watch is with a smaller Chapman secondary, these bigger Occidental wide receivers are able to make plays.
This time he goes again to number 14, that's Caleb Mitchell.
So yes, with a smaller secondary, when you have large wide receivers, as you said, putting the ball in a place that only these larger wide receivers can make, putting it above the ability of those secondary to get up. They're extending themselves, but they just don't have the size to defend.
2nd and 4 for the Tigers. Scott reading the blitz by Chapman. They'll bring both linebackers. He gets it over the middle to a wide open Sam Kreiser, but just overthrows him, and Osa was coming in for the hit right there. It's a good thing he didn't catch that. But wow, he was open. Chapman brings the blitz on this one, and that leaves the middle of the field open for these safeties, but dodging a bullet there.
Absolutely, and when they bring the blitz, then it puts a lot more emphasis on Osa to make those plays, to provide that coverage. Osa was coming in for the hit, but like you say, it was wide open. Poorly thrown there.
3rd and 4 for the Tigers. Brian Scott in the gun. Goes on the out route to Kreiser, overthrows him once again, so it seems to be a theme for Brian Scott tonight. Can't get his timing down and can't hit his receivers. Is that right, Gardy?
Yeah, absolutely, Sam. And one of the things that I think you see as a result of that is the blitzing, the pressure from the Chapman line, from the linebackers. Really, they're bringing the heat all game. It's a chilly October day, but we're feeling the heat here at Wilson Stadium. Of course, led by Greg the Tank, Osa all day. They're all playing tight. They're playing smart, just like we thought they would, that aggressive Chapman defense.
So the Tigers up to punt. Jimerson to return. And a nice kick this time, and this one goes into the end zone. That's going to be a touchback for the Panthers, who are going to take over at their own 20. 1 minute and 15 seconds left to play in the half. 31-7 Occidental. And we're going to go to break real quick, but when we come back, we'll have more football. All right, welcome back. 1st and 10 for the Panthers. This time looks like Cody Chappell gets the carry, only gets a few yards on that play. So Occidental starting to adapt to this running game, it seems, but we'll see if they can continue that.
Absolutely. One thing interesting, Sam, when you and I talked to some of the players and coaches before the game, is that we'll get to that after this play.
2nd and 9. Leahy back to pass. Goes for Rivard, and he makes the catch. So the freshman getting a couple catches tonight.
Well, going back off of that, we see, well, we were talking about the ability of Leahy to make throws down the field. We don't see it that often. And you see some of his passes seem to be underthrown like that. He had the wide receiver open and still trails him a bit. So sometimes I'd like to see him throw a little bit stronger.
Leahy rolling to his left, now goes back to his right. He's got Rivard once again, who makes the great catch at the sideline and gets out of bounds. Clock's going to stop with 32 seconds left, but a great job getting separation by number 2, Noah Rivard.
Smart play for the freshman wide receiver to understand that the clock's ticking down, 32 seconds. He has to get out of bounds. Leahy's been clicking with number 2, freshman Rivard.
So 1st and 10, ball on the 49. Leahy gets it to Rivard once again, who makes another catch, and he's going to bring it brought down around the 35. But Rivard gets the catch once again, and he's having a day.
So we talked about this two-dimensional Chapman offense. Last week, because the running game was so successful, they didn't stray away from it. Here we see them looking to the pass, and it's being very successful for the Panthers.
So 22 seconds left. Leahy back to pass again. This time just dumps it off to Chappell in the flat. And Chappell's going to get out of bounds here with 12 seconds left, and another first down for this Chapman Panther defense. They're trying to get on the board before this halftime ends.
Another throw, another first down. Leahy must be happy getting all the looks, and especially the freshman Noah Rivard. He is having a great, he was receiving an ovation when he runs to the sidelines.
The freshman getting some love there. So here's Leahy on 1st and 10, rolling to his right. A flag on the play. Goes back to Myers, who makes the great catch in for the touchdown. And it's a touchdown for Chapman, but hold the phone, we've got a flag.
We'll see what the flag is. This is going to bring this back. A terrific block by Cody Chappell. Hopefully it wasn't below the knees.
And players are signaling touchdown.
Offside on the defense.
And it's an offside
the
on the
penalty is
defense.
declined.
That's a touchdown for the Panthers.
Encroachment
3
penalty.
seconds left on the clock. Wow. So 37-7, 3 seconds left in the half. And what a play by Leahy and Myers to connect on that.
Absolutely, and if you see the top of your screen, you may have missed it. Cody Chappell, crushing block, and just a great reception by Myers, the ability to stay on his feet, dive into the end zone. These Panthers are finishing strong.
Firing on all cylinders tonight, Gardy. Offense, defense, and special teams.
Occidental defense thought maybe they had got something going.
So the extra point hits the field goal post but goes in. In water polo, they call that one a bar in.
And
But
Sam,
it's 38-7.
you got to think, if you're the Occidental defense, you're saying, look, we adjusted. They had some success at stopping the run. And then the Chapman, they just adapt, put the ball in Leahy's hands, allow him to make decisions. We see him throw the ball down the field, which is something we talked about, then do a hitch. He's making those reads on the run. Like we talked about, Chappell, McKibbins picking up the blitzes, giving Leahy the time to make those reads. He's a senior quarterback. He's been through this. He knows what he's doing. That's why he's the undisputed leader on that offense.
You're right, Guardian. If I were Occidental players, I would not want to be in the locker room at halftime with Coach Simonis. He's a defensive-minded coach, and they've given up 38 points in this first half. Alfonso gets his kick away. Looks like Harris to receive. Harris takes it about the 2. Goes up the right side and is tackled by number 26, Drew DeMarco.
And that'll do it.
That's going to wrap up the first half here at Ernie Chapman Stadium. And Gardy, what did you think from the first half? Obviously, all Chapman here.
All Chapman, all half. Interesting, though, because while early on Chapman established the run, that's what we saw. We saw McKibbins having success. Kean Stansel with some huge plays. And then the Occidental defense appeared to maybe start adjusting. Their line was having some success against the offensive line. And then specifically on that last play, Chapman's offense, they just adapt. And that's what we've talked about all game, all season, is their ability to hurt you multiple different ways, whether it's throwing the ball, whether it's forcing turnovers on defense, whether it's pounding, the bruising rushing attack. Sam, for me, this is Chapman playing extremely good football, especially in a key SCIAC game.
Right. They are playing, despite those few penalties here and there, they are playing a great game tonight. And one thing to look at as well, Brian Scott had a lot of overthrows that could have led to big plays in that first half. Now, he's a quarterback that has an interesting story. Isn't that right, Gardy?
Yes, absolutely. The young quarterback was named to the USA under-19 football team that plays in July. So representing the United States, he's a quarterback that's getting national recognition. He's a big guy. He's young. He's smart. And we're going to go down to our sideline reporter. We have an interview with Coach Owens right before he goes.
Yeah, after an exciting half of Chapman football, I'm here with Coach Bob Owens. Coach, after that first score on the first drive, obviously a lot of momentum. How much did that help with the rest of the half?
We wanted to get off to a fast start, which we were able to. I'm not sure, but I think we scored the first 2 times we touched the football, which was just part of our game plan. Come out of the locker room, lots of intensity, get off to a fast start.
Yeah, and obviously you're going into the halftime with a lot of momentum and a lot of success. What do you tell the players in the locker room?
The score is 0-0. We start all over, 1 half at a time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Coach. Back up to you guys.
All right. Thank you, Sammy. Great job. And we're going to wrap it up here at halftime, bring it up back in the third quarter. Chapman dominating this one. At halftime, the score is 38-7. And the cheerleaders right now are doing a performance on the field. But when we come back, we'll have more football. You're watching the Chapman Broadcast Network. welcome back. I'm Sam Miller alongside Gardy Royce. It's 38-7 at the half, and during this break, we're going to have an inside look at one of Chapman football players' own with a very inspiring story. Let's take a look.
Fans screaming, coaches yelling, and whistles blowing. These are all sounds Chapman football player Connor Setley shouldn't be hearing, but he does anyway.
So I actually am completely deaf. I have no hearing whatsoever.
Connor was born deaf and at a young age underwent 2 cochlear implant surgeries, giving him a chance to hear normally.
These small electronic devices bypass the damaged portions of the ear, stimulating the auditory nerve. Signals are then released, which the brain recognizes as sound.
And in terms of daily life, other than missing things, it's pretty normal. There's not really any problems with it.
And after the official clearing from his doctor, Connor was allowed to play the sport he loves.
There's not really any special precautions. First when he first got here, I was a little concerned about his earpiece, but he says it pops out and he says he's fine.
Connor's natural impairment doesn't affect his attitude on or off the field.
He doesn't feel that he's handicapped in any way with it. Just when you're talking to him and everything, he feels he can do everything.
Who plays football with the issues that he has? He's been able to overcome so much, and I think he's just a figure for a lot of people to look up to. It creates a positive atmosphere whenever he's around.
Although Connor was born with a deficit most don't have to deal with, he embraces it.
I guess you could say my life setting was on hard, but really it's just you sort of deal with it, you understand that you have it, and it's like you have to deal with it, so you just sort of take it as it goes.
From Orange, this has been Megan Harger, Chapman News.
All right, an inspiring story. Thank you for that. And we're going to go to break right now, but when we come back, we'll have your halftime report. All right, welcome back. I'm Sam Miller. Alongside me, Gardner Royce. A huge first half for the Panthers. They lead it right now, 38-7. Gardy, what stood out to you in the first half?
One comparison for me stood out above all, and that's total offensive yards. The Panthers, 407 total yards. Occidental, 132. And the score reflects that. The Panthers early on got going with the run. McKibbins got going early. Kean Stansel got going. So they established that run like we talked about. Then it appears that if Occidental kind of started understanding it, they stopped the run. Chapman adapted. Leahy put the ball in the air. As you saw, they scored with 3 seconds to go. Chapman is doing everything right, overcoming some of those obstacles, and the defense is playing incredible.
They're firing on all cylinders. Let's take a look at the first half highlights coming up right now.
And here you see Jeremiah McKibbins, as we were talking about. McKibbins having a huge day. Here it is, giving it back to McKibbins. McKibbins making stuff happen, especially after that initial contact. McKibbins once again making that cut. His legs are looking a lot better each week. Always great to see him doing well. And then Leahy dancing around, Saturday Night Fever. He's making stuff happen, doesn't see it downfield, and he's putting it on. He's got those legs turning, whiling down, and almost makes it in. They would punch it in on the next possession. Cody Chappell, another one of those running backs, that three-headed beast of the Panthers. He got it going, but then, like we said, Leahy to the freshman wide receiver, 3 receptions. He was doing great on that final drive when Leahy put the ball in the air. Sean Myers makes the catch, turns around, stays on his feet with the contact, diving in, scores with 3 seconds, 38-7 at the half. Here's the halftime game summary. Like we talked about, 0 turnovers for both teams, 38-7, 199 rushing yards. Look at that rushing yard comparison, 17 for the Tigers. Kwame, no you don't, not tonight. The Panthers defense are absolutely shutting down their running back. Sam, I think that says it all.
It does, Gardy. 199 rush yards in the first half. They've been doing it all season long, and Occidental knows the run is coming, and they still can't figure out how to stop it. So, 30 seconds left in this halftime period. I'm excited to get back into the action. We're picking up the third quarter with Chapman kicking off to Occidental. So they're going to start out with the ball, and they've got a lot of work to do offensively.
Yeah, good old-fashioned cat fight tonight here at Wilson Stadium. Wilson Field, at Ernie Chapman Stadium. The Tigers, once again, trying to get back, trying to gain some momentum. Not a lot going well for them. Offensively, defensively, they've been struggling. Both teams with some penalties. You don't want to see that dirty laundry being thrown on the field. But yeah, Sam, we'll see. The Panthers can pick up right where they left off.
And right now I see two new quarterbacks warming up on the sideline. We'll see if they can extend their lead and get some of those guys some reps for some mop-up time later on. The kick is away, and we are into the third quarter. Cordell Harris catches it about his own 2. And he gets tackled at about the 31-yard line. That's number 32, Sean Davis, the sophomore running back out of Newport Beach. So Occidental comes out in this third quarter. Obviously, we talked about Brian Scott and what he needs to work on. You want to talk about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've talked a little bit about Scott. He's a big, young quarterback. He's good. But the Panthers have been able to penetrate. They've been able to get past that offensive line of the Tigers. They've forced him into some difficult situations where, as you said earlier, he's been overthrowing. He's been having wide open receivers, and he's been missing them. That's a result of the penetration and of the good coverage by this Chapman secondary.
So here we go. 1st and 10 from their own 32-yard line. Scott back to pass this time, and he goes deep, and it's caught by number 7. That's Devin Bullock with the huge gain. And Tigers moving the ball early, and it looks like Bullock is down. But that's just what we were talking about. A great decision right there by Brian Scott to get it to Bullock.
Well, also, as we had just talked about, the ability of the Panthers to get the penetration on that play, Scott had incredible amounts of time. So that offensive line for the Tigers reacting. As you see, a great catch. He was open, but then looks like he got injured when he hit the ground. We'll see.
I can see Greg Johnson saying, my bad, my bad. It looks like that was his fault of Bullock getting behind him. But Bullock is down, and he is not getting up.
But yeah.
So this injury is going to be huge for them if he can't make it back in the game, but you hate to see that. All right, we're going to go to break. 38-7, 14 minutes left in the third quarter, and you're watching the Chapman Broadcast Network. Welcome back to the action. As you see there, Devin Bullock getting helped off the field. He went down on the injury after the big catch, and it does not look good for him right now. But this Occidental defense moving the ball early. Here's Scott in the pistol on 1st and 10 from the Panthers' 35-yard line. Scott back to pass, looking for Stokel. Picked up by Sean Davey. What a play by Davey. Guard, you want to break that one down for us?
Yeah, we talked about that earlier. This aggressive Chapman defense looks like Occidental's getting something moving with a huge first pass. And then just like that quick, that smart defense, Sean Davis, we highlighted him earlier on for his incredible play in the end zone. Look at this. He's reading it all the way. Telegraphed that pass. Sean Davis, another great play by the senior corner.
Great job by Sean Davey. He had his eyes on the number 2 receiver who went inside, stayed with Stuckel on the outside, undercuts that route, and makes the nice play. 1st and 10 for the Panthers now. They're going to take over at their own 20-yard line. And the give is to McKibbins. He gets about 6 on the play. And we've got a new quarterback in the game, Raymond Huizar, out of Garden Grove. He's a senior.
And one thing that a lot of players talk about Huizar is he does have considerable arm strength. He can throw the ball. We've seen in practice, he's hucking it downfield. So interesting to see if when he comes in, Coach Owens will switch up whether or not they go more downfield.
And I remember Huizar's big play last week on homecoming on that throwback from Stansel. That was incredible. So about 2nd and about 5 for the Panthers. Give is to McKibbins once again. He's got room to work with, and that's a first down for the Panthers on a gain of about 9. Great run by McKibbins, and I told you once at the beginning of the game, and I'm going to tell you again, we've been calling his name all night long, Gardy.
Absolutely, and a really interesting statistic coming from the fantastic sports editor of the Panther. But over the last 6 quarters, Chapman has outscored their opponents 95-7.
Wow. That's a stat if
Let
I've
that
ever
sink
heard
in.
one.
95-7. Helped a lot by the 58-0 shutout last week. But they're on pace tonight.
So here's Huizar in the shotgun. Chappell to his left. It looks like Hornstein to his right. Gives to Chappell, who's got room to work with. A nice cut, and he's a great run down the field. And are they going to catch him? Chappell's going to score. Oh my goodness, Gardy, what a run by Cody Chappell.
We talked about it, whether it's McKibbins or Keene or Chappell, that three-headed monster rearing back, taking the Tigers by storm. Not much you can do when you got the man running. They all talk about how tough he is. You see him break those tackles when he's gone. That's a 64-yard run.
Looking like Barry Sanders right there with that cut to get open free, and he's wearing the number 20 as well. Chapman about to take the lead 45-7 to open up this third quarter.
That bruising running attack that we talked about all pregame. We can't talk about it anymore because the Panthers continue to do that. There's no stopping them. This Tigers team just looks completely overwhelmed.
What a run by Chappell, 64 yards. And I'd say Chapman has the momentum back once again coming into this second half.
And for Chappell, a 64-yard run, but then you look at McKibbin's numbers, 12 rushes for 104 yards and 1 touchdown. Yet again, these running backs having incredible games for the Panthers. And as all the running backs, especially McKibbin's, have done, they point to that offensive line led by Colladell, who open the lanes, they block. Colladell says that the line isn't interested in any individual glory. They just want to make sure that the skill players are comfortable and that they're able to excel. Sam, they're excelling right now. It's 45-7.
You can see it on the scoreboard. They're playing great. So Alfonso's going to kick this one off to Occidental. And it looks like a squib kick to Harris. Going to cover it about the 5. And Harris with some room to work. And he's going to be brought down by a host of the Chapman Panthers. One thing I want to talk about you, Gardy. You're down 45-7 in the third quarter. If you're Occidental coach, what are you calling? What are you trying to get out of this game? Are you trying to get it back in, or are you just trying to give the defense some different looks?
I think specifically because it's this SCIAC game, these teams do not like each other, as we've talked. There's a lot of pride on the line here. Occidental hasn't been able to get anything going. I don't think they really alter what they're doing. I think they're going to try and keep putting the ball on the ground. If not, they're going to look for their large wide receivers. I think you got to keep playing. It's still very early on.
So they give it to Doe on the draw play, and he's brought down by a host of Panthers once again. They're doing a great job on the defensive side of the ball.
I'm going to say it again, Sam. Kwame don't. He is not having a good night tonight. That Chapman defense all week long preparing for him. They've seen him. They know how he runs, and they all talked about heading into this game. That was going to be their big thing, focusing on him, focusing on stopping him, understanding his reads, watching a lot of game. They have certainly done that tonight.
Alex Rory and Guilano McDonald on the stop there, making a great play for the defensive line for the Panthers. Scott back to pass, gets it out to Stokel and overthrown on the out route. Seems to be the theme for Brian Scott tonight, is those overthrown passes.
You said it. These overthrown passes where the wide receivers are trying to make plays, trying to create some separation from that secondary. Now, the secondary is doing a very good job, specifically Davies, but Scott is making throws that you'd expect him, is missing throws, pardon me, that you'd expect him to make.
So a 3rd and 12 for the Tigers from their own 28-yard line. Trips up at the top of your screen, and Stokel, the lone receiver, on the bottom. The quick screen pass, and this time it looks like it's number 5. That's Sam Kreiser.
One thing that this Chapman defense prides itself on is getting to the ball the second it's thrown, the second it's handed off. All players, as you'll see those red jerseys swarming to the ball. Because they're smaller, they have to make up for some of that lack of size. They're extremely quick. Talk to Johnson, Davies. They condition all week long. They keep their bodies in incredible shape. He said, look, if you're trying to get in shape in season, you're already too late. So they spend the summer, they spend the off season getting their bodies into this shape so that they're able to make these plays, compensate for their lack of size.
We've seen them the last couple weeks be able to close out in the second half, proving they don't get tired, so that is true. Jimerson picks this one up at his own 30, and he's got some room to work with down the sideline again, and he gets up to about the 43-yard line. Looks like there's a fumble. And it looks like Occidental is showing that they recovered, and they do. So a little bit of a turnaround for this Occidental team who just gave the ball up, and now they've got it back.
Incredibly disappointing for Jimerson, who's been making it happen on these kickoff returns, these punts all game long. He's trying, he's working, he's fighting for every single yard. You see him pick it up at about the 30 here. He's going, then puts it into the next gear.
And then Shea Muller ends up coming up with the fumble recovery.
As a running back, you never want to put the ball on the ground, especially when you're having a game like that. And following on the defense, doing yet again, forcing Occidental to punt.
It's a good thing we mentioned that conditioning, because this defense is going to have to head back on the field after they thought they were going to be done. So Scott in the gun. Kwame Doe to his right. And they give us to Doe this time. Again, nothing doing for Doe. Stopped right around the line of scrimmage. And another great job by this Chapman Panther defense. Great job by the linebackers reading this run as well. And you have to credit Coach Bishop for that.
Absolutely, and they've schemed extremely well all week leading up to it. They knew Doe was strong, but they also knew that Scott was, like we talk about, you see him in shotgun. He's a big guy. He can look over the defense. He sees his huge targets on the wings.
2nd and 10 for the Tigers. Scott back to pass, looking, can't find anyone open, and he's going to be sacked by number 66. That's Ryan Kozer. Ryan Kozer and initially Guiano McDonald getting in on the sack. And a great play by these D linemen once again by getting into the quarterback and not giving Scott any time to throw, right, Gardner?
And we talked about getting that penetration, taking over that offensive line of the Tigers. Just when it seemed earlier that the Tigers were giving Scott some of that separation, now the Panthers hammering them, getting to the quarterback, getting to Scott.
It's ball on their own 30 now, 3rd and long. Scott rolling to his left, looking. He's going to go over the middle to Stokel, makes the catch at the 50. And another great catch by Sam Stokel, who made a big play in the first half to set up that first touchdown.
Well, and when they've gotten those balls thrown at them and on target, these wide receivers are capable of making really good grabs, even when the Chapman defense appeared to be having good coverage. They had a man on him. Here you go. He rolls to his left. That is Scott. He puts the ball just where it needs to be.
Looks like
Osa's
we've got
there.
a penalty on the play.
Substitution infraction on the offense, 12 players.
Substitution infraction called
down.
on Occidental. That's going to knock them back 5 yards and bring up 1st and 15.
Not what you want as the Tigers, especially following a big play, but more importantly, down 45-7. You can't be having those type of mental errors.
So trips at the bottom of your screen. Scott in the gun. They're bringing Sam Layton on the blitz. It's a fumble, and it's going to be recovered by Chapman. That's number 36. The Fridge.
Yeah, Sam, just as we were talking about the mental errors, that's Garrett the Fridge Fridiani. He's having a day. The Tank is having a day. All day, Osa's having a day. This Chapman defense doing exactly what they want. Jimerson has the unfortunate fumble on the punt return. The defense says, no worries, we got your back. They get the ball back. This Chapman offense knocking once again.
So you saw Sam Layton coming in on the edge for the blitz. I thought he was going to make the sack, but a miscue between the center and the quarterback for Occidental, and it just snaps it straight back. It looks like Peyton Manning in that Super Bowl against the Seahawks in that first quarter, right, Gardy?
And one of those things where, especially when you're down, we saw this last week. We'll come back to that after this play.
So the give is to Dolberry out of the backfield. He's got a lot of room to work with down the sideline, and he's in for 6. Wow. So just like that.
Dolberry do. Dolberry gets it in for 6. And one thing, like I was going to say, we saw this in the homecoming game. When Chapman comes up big, Pomona looked like they did it a little last week. Occidental looks like it's happening to them. Completely overwhelmed. You'll see right here.
He even got me on the play.
They're keying in on Stansel. Dolberry gets it, just runs past this defense.
So the play fake works. They get it to Dolberry in the flat, and he shows his speed going down the sideline right there for the nice touchdown. And Chapman seems to be running up the score a bit on this Occidental Tiger team, and something that they want to be comfortable with definitely here late is a big lead. 52-7 right now. Chapman leads it with 9 minutes left in the third. All right, now we've got our reporter Sammy Harrelson on the sideline with an injury update. Sammy, what do you got for us?
Yes, guys, Tigers wide receiver Devin Bullock was taken off the field a couple minutes ago by 2 of athletic trainers. He was taken to the sideline, put on the table. They were stretching out his right leg. It looks like a right knee injury. They had some ice on there. They've wrapped it up. He was turning around, giving the thumbs up to Occidental fans, but it doesn't look like he's going to be back in the game. That's all the information we have right now, but if we get more, we'll give it back to you. Back to you guys.
All right, thanks, Sammy. Great job, as always. Now Alfonso set to kick this one, and Bullock's going to be a huge loss for this Occidental offense as they need all the weapons they can have right now. Alfonso's kick is away, and looks like Cordell Harris back to make the catch. And takes it out to the right side. And he's brought down by a host of Panthers. His helmet comes off on the play. And they're going to take over at about their own 15-yard line.
You sense some frustration on that Occidental sideline. It's hard, down 52-7. Nothing really going very well for them on either side of the ball. And the Panthers, to give them credit, both sides, offense and defense, they've been playing exceptionally well. Very tight, very strong, good coverage on defense, obviously forcing that turnover and getting the penetration to force some bad passes by Scott.
So here comes Brian Scott in the Occidental offense. They've got that two backfield now. And Steckel at the bottom of your screen. The give is to Doe. Not a whole lot of room to work with again as that good defensive line for the Panthers keeps doing their job. And we're going to take a look at the scores around the SCIAC tonight. Some other big games going on. Looks like we've got Kowloon over Pomona-Pitzer, 41-17. Whittier beating Laverne. And the big one, Redlands over Claremont McKenna, or Claremont Mud Scripps, rather. So keep an eye for that Redlands score because that's going to be the one that determines the SCIAC picture moving forward. 2nd and 9, ball at the 20. Scott back to pass, looking, can't find anyone open. He's going to be sacked. Oh, he gets away from one, and then it's sacked again with a fumble. Looks like Occidental recovers. Sam Layton gets there in there initially, Gardy. What happened on that play?
The flag came out. It might be face mask. It might be a face mask on Scott. Oh, no, it's not.
So it looks like the white cap is asking Coach Owens what he wants to do on the play.
Holding, rather.
Holding,
be a
offense,
hold
number 75.
on Occidental.
Penalty
That's
is
going to push them back
declined.
even more. Actually, Chapman's going to decline the
Third
penalty
down.
due to the fumble. That's going to bring up 3rd and about 20 for this Occidental team.
As you see, this play is made possible by the senior defensive back, Sam Layton, coming there, forcing it. While Scott does get away, we talk about how big he is, how physical he is, him able to get away from that. In the end, it doesn't matter. So once again, even these cornerbacks, the defensive backs, they're getting to the quarterback. That's huge. Because you talked about, Sam, them missing throws, him overthrowing quarterbacks. Chapman's defense is in his head. He's not the quarterback that this Occidental Tigers team is expecting and sees.
Trips at the bottom of your screen. Scott rolls out, can't find anyone open. He's going to be sacked again. This time, 91, Kurt Kofer gets the sack. A nice play by Kofer, senior out of Livermore, California.
You get the sense that this Occidental team is falling apart. This is an absolute slaughter by the Chapman Panthers for the 2nd week in a row. They spent the first few weeks of the season kind of starting to understand. Obviously, you have the Linfield game opening the season. It's huge. Avoiding those mental errors. When they put together 4 strong quarters, this team appears to be extremely in control
And
of this
Gardy,
SCIAC.
looks like we've got your boy back to receive this kick. Tigers kick the ball away. And they won't be able to return this one. It's recovered by the Tigers. The Panthers are going to start in Tiger territory at about the 34-yard line.
As if anything could go worse for Occidental. Another great starting point for this Chapman offense, which has had no problems at all day scoring. The game highlights at the end of this are going to be 5 minutes long because every single person's going to get a read.
That's right, Gardy. And we might see some new faces coming up here as the score gets increased. Some guys getting the chance to play. So Huizar again at quarterback. Then number 46, Brett Hornstein in there, and looks like number 37, Jesse Cobble as well. This time Cobble gets the carry and tackled right around the line of scrimmage. Jesse Cobble, the junior running back out of Big Bar Harbor, Washington.
And Cobble got...
And there's a look at our Chapman cheerleaders doing a great job tonight with the pink pom-poms for Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Great job, ladies.
Cobble and Dolberry both last week receiving multiple handoffs, similar situation when the score.
We got a flag down on the play.
Start offense, number 92.
False start on the
5-yard
offense,
penalty,
number 92.
Second down.
They're going to move this one back.
And when you're getting some of the second and third string people in, haven't had as much time to practice, haven't had as much repetition with the main team, especially when you bring in a new quarterback, and so that's just a mistake that I'd probably like to work on.
Second and about 13 for the Panthers. Huizar gives the handoff to Cobble once again, and he's tackled in the backfield. And number 45 for Occidental, that's Evan Buckwalter, sophomore linebacker out of Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So a great play by Buckwalter.
So you sense the Tigers are still playing. They still, like we said, have a lot of pride, and they're a good football team. Just completely overmatched by this Chapman Panthers team that, I mean, they all talk about wanting to win through SCIAC. They think they have the chance to go undefeated. They're close to cracking the top 25 Division III ranking. I believe they're at 27.
It'll be interesting to see if they keep this win, will they be after this week. And the gives to Cobble once again. And he gets a couple yards, and that's going to bring up fourth down for the Panthers.
And a big part of this, and we discussed this earlier, finishing games, but specifically finishing games when you have a big lead like this. Because the Panthers talked about, look, when they're up this big, there is a tendency you don't need to play as hard because you have the lead. You're in a comfortable position. However, the first team talked about when they see the second string guys, the third string guys playing hard. The Pomona game, they're forcing turnovers with 10 seconds left. What that does is it reinforces they have depth on this team. This team does not stop fighting until the end, even when you're up 50 points.
Right, and it doesn't matter who's on the field. I'm looking down at the sideline right now, and I see guys like McKibbins, guys like Stansel, guys like Greg Johnson still involved. But we're going to take a break right now. When we come back, we'll have more football for you as this third quarter comes to a close. So let's take a break. All right, welcome back to the action. Marcus Trujillo away to punt this one off. 5 minutes left to play in the third, 52-7, Chapman leads. And the kick is up. Not so good punt by Trujillo. Occidental is going to start this one at their own 25-yard line.
An interesting statistic, Sam. When you look at the Occidental defense, they've actually had considerable success this season. Their points allowed per game, 24.2. So they have a decent defense coming into this game. I'm sure no one expected on their team that they would be looking with 5 minutes to go in the third quarter at a 52-7 box score.
I know neither have I predicted this type of separation. Neither of us predicted this at all.
However, if Chapman played to their abilities, there was always the idea that they would have considerable success.
That's right. When this team plays a good game, they're a force to be reckoned with. Here's Scott. Back to pass. Got Sam Steckel over the middle, and he's going to be brought down by Sean Davey and a host of Chapman Panthers, but that's another catch for Steckel, who's having a big night tonight. He's leading the Occidental team in receptions on the season, having a great year.
Yes, and interestingly, another reception in the center of the field. That's where Scott has appeared to find his most consistent, most productive passes, if you will, in that middle where some of those linebackers may have to pick up some of the receptions. He gets over that initial line of defense, and he goes right back there.
Scott going to Kreiser on this one for another big gain, so Occidental starting to move the ball.
There's still a lot of football to be played, but it might be a little bit too little, too late. Chapman defense looking to the sideline. I'm sure they don't want to disappoint as well. I talked to Owens about having, the second and the third string come in. We'll continue that after this play.
Scott in the pistol formation. They're going to pass again. He looks for Harris this time, who's way out of bounds. And they can't complete this one. It's fallen incomplete. In the game now for the Panthers, number 35, Chase Tamashiro on the coverage on that play.
Going back to that, we're talking to Owens about the ability for the second and third string players to get playing time. He said, yeah, the intensity does not wane off because, in fact, sometimes it's heightened because they're playing to get a spot on the starting team.
Right, keep an eye out for some of these guys on the defensive side of the ball. They're looking to make plays right now. Scott rolling out, can't find anyone open. Looks like he's going to take off and run. And then he's going to be tackled after about a 5-yard gain. Pushed out of bounds. And that's number 58, Miles Alex, out of Torrey Pines High School down in San Diego.
You can see the frustration on these Tigers players. Scott looking, he can't find anything open. These Panthers defenders, the secondary, doing a great job to cover the wide receivers, make him try and make something with his feet. Maybe he was looking on the sideline, he saw what Leahy was doing, he said, hey, I want to try that. And sorry, sir, not today.
So here's a 3rd and 6 for the Tigers. Trips at the bottom of your screen, and they're looking, Scott's looking to scramble, can't find anyone open, but gets it off. And incomplete for Cordell Harris. And that's going to bring up a 4th down.
Once again, the offensive line just completely crumbling around Scott. You see him looking. He can't find anything. Chapman linebackers, the lineman coming in. He has to make another throw off.
So it's a 4th down, and Occidental is going to go for it. They're inside Panther territory, and when they're down by this much, they have to go for it. Not left with much of a choice, but tripped at the bottom of your screen. They've been going with this trip set for most of this drive. And Scott reads the blitz from the outside. Moves up in the pocket, and he's going to take off and run. Can he get the first down? Tackled. And that was number 35, once again, Chase Tamashiro. And that's a 1st down for this Occidental team.
Now, we talked about Scott being a smart quarterback, and you see a type of play like that when the pocket's collapsing around him, as you'll see, well, here's the hit, but when the pocket's collapsing, rather than get flustered as he has at certain points in the game, he steps up, he avoids the rush, makes something happen. You got to focus, if you're the Tigers, you got to focus on the little things so that you don't get completely overwhelmed, as it appeared that they did earlier on in the 3rd quarter. Finally getting something moving offensively. Granted, it is against 2nd or 3rd string of Chapman.
They're going deep this time, looking for Steckel, and it's caught. A great catch. And does he get it in bounds? They're saying he does. Nope, it's going to be an incomplete. Incomplete pass. Steckel's not happy about it. Tamashiro on the coverage once again.
Steckel trying to convince the referee that he didn't see it. Here you'll see him go up.
Can't get the 1 foot down. So that's going to be a 2nd and 10 for Occidental.
Tough for Steckel, who's having a terrific game himself. Obviously, you can't win a football game all by yourself. You need a little bit more help.
Right, 6'3", 6'3" at a wide receiver. If I'm that cornerback, that's a guy I do not want to cover. He's doing a great job tonight. Scott looking, rolling, almost sacked, and rolling out, finally gets the pass off, this time to Sam Kreiser. But more importantly,
a broken play. You see Scott, that big quarterback, he's able to avoid, take the hit,
number
avoid it, throw the hit off, make something come out of it.
So McDonald's going to have to leave for a play since his helmet fell off. And he actually kept chasing the quarterback despite not having a helmet. So, you can see the heart and soul of this Chapman Panther defense. It doesn't matter if they don't have their helmet on. They're still going to go after the ball. So here's a 1st down inside the Panthers' red zone. Scott in the gun. Back to pass, looking. Goes deep. And pushed out of bounds, fallen incomplete. Tamashiro on the coverage once again. That pass intended for number 13, Elijah Durant.
We'll see how this Chapman defense responds. For the first time seeing an Occidental drive that has some sort of motivation, some inspiration in it. You asked about this earlier, whether or not the Occidental team was going to collapse, how they were still going to play, if they were going to try anything differently. They appear to be doing exactly what they tried to do all game. It wasn't working early on. I think it's too late now.
2nd and 10. Scott back to pass, sacked again. So this Chapman Panther defense really getting to this quarterback. And that one, number 97, Joey Livington. A great job by this Chapman defense here in the 3rd quarter. Joey Livingston, the junior linebacker out of Huntington Beach, California. And it looks like we have an Occidental player down.
We talked about this early on. When you have two physical, hard-hitting, aggressive teams, you never want to see players get injured, but we've seen this all throughout the game. Players getting dinged up on both sides of the ball, having to leave. Eventually, some of them have come back, but what you expect in a hard game like this.
So we mentioned it earlier. There's David Hernandez, the injured player, getting up on his own. We wish him the best, heading to the sideline. I mentioned it earlier. It is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Spoke with Kian Stansel before the game, and he said it's one of his favorite games to be able to support this cause and wear the pink tape on his ankles, and then the cheerleaders as well supporting the cause with their pom-poms, and it's something you see on Sundays in the NFL as well. So it's a great cause and a great opportunity for football players to support this breast cancer awareness.
Some dedicated Chapman fans still cheering the team on despite the huge margin.
Chapman about 16 for the Tigers. Scott going deep for Steckel, and it's caught. A great catch by Steckel, and that's a touchdown. So finally some light for this Tigers offense who's been struggling all day. And one thing remains the same, Steckel, one heck of a receiver.
Steckel is having himself a day. We talked about it. He's going up there against a smaller secondary. You see similar play to the one that they tried on the previous pass. He goes up there, makes a terrific catch, splitting the two defenders, coming down with it.
So when it matters, Scott makes the big-time throw, and that's a touchdown. Occidental on to hit the extra point, and they do. So we've got a flag down on the play.
Awaiting the result of that flag.
So we'll see what the call is on the extra point.
The try is good. Personal foul, defense, hands to the face, number 93.
So a hands to the face called on the defense. And that's going to be enforced on the kickoff, so the extra point is good. 52-14, Chapman leads.
And once again, another look at Steckel's brilliant touchdown. He just goes up there, spinning, comes down with it, able to come down with the football. You could tell they're frustrated, but they're still playing. They got a lot of pride, especially when it's a conference rival like Chapman. They want to stay undefeated. Doesn't look like it's going to happen, but still a lot of football to be played.
1 minute left in this third quarter, and Chapman blowing out the Tigers. They do get some light back there, though, with the touchdown. So we'll see what this fourth quarter has in store for us as we wrap up the third. Chapman players looking chipper on the sidelines. Leahy with the baseball hat on.
However, at the same time, as we discussed and as Coach Owens reiterated to us before the game, when you have these big leads, they're not going to be okay just closing it out, winning 52-30. They want, if they're up 52-7, they want the score to stay 52-7 or to add on to it.
That's right. All right, so it goes past Rivard and Kelly, and Chapman's going to take over at their own 20 after the touchback. So let's think in terms of moving forward, Gardy. If the score stays the same and Redlands wins over against Claremont, what does that mean for this Panthers team moving forward?
Once again, the Panthers and Redlands are going to be facing off in the SCIAC. Arguably the two of the most competitive. They have a great rivalry with Redlands and with Cal Lutheran. However, the Redlands specifically, because Redlands was the one who took away their dream of winning the SCIAC last season. The one loss in their 8-1 record last year tied the school record for the football team. This season they come back. They have that in the back of their minds. Be a storybook ending for the Chapman team to be able to get revenge.
And Chapman runs the ball up the middle for a short gain. That's number 37. Jesse Cobble, the junior out of Washington.
And interesting thing to note, Sam, however, is that Panthers actually finished their season. Their final games are at Redlands and at Whittier. So they play their last 2 games away, which is going to be very hard for the Panthers. And they play Cal Lutheran away as well. So the most competitive games they don't get to play here at Wilson Field, where they get a lot of support from the fans.
Gives to Cobble once again. He gets about 3 yards on the play. And the main focus after this game, Gardy, I know, is going to be that big Cal-Lu game next week. They are not a team you want to take lightly.
Absolutely. You and I can look ahead to that Redlands game, the second to last game, but we know that Owens does not let these players focus on anything ahead of that upcoming game. They actually have a whiteboard in the locker room. None of the teams have names. It says opponent 6, opponent 7. Until that week that they're facing off against that team, then they put in Occidental. Then they'll put in Redlands when they come up. But until then, opponent 8.
So as we wrap up the third quarter here at Ernie Chapman Stadium, Chapman blowing out Occidental 52-14. We've got 1 quarter left to play. And take a look at some highlights here. Here's Cody Chappell's big gain in the third quarter to start off the half, and what a run, 64 yards down the field. But what a play by Chappell. And then it was this on Dolberry down the sideline, getting it into the end zone for the touchdown. And I believe that was the score that put them at 52 points. And we'll be right back with more action. I'm Sam Miller alongside Gardner Royce, and you're watching the Chapman Broadcast Network. So we start the fourth quarter on the other side of the field, and Huizar is in the backfield. And this give is to Cobble once again. He's going to be stopped short, and that was a third down, so that's going to bring up fourth down. Looks like Trujillo's coming onto the field for the kick.
Now maintaining that run, like we talked about before the game, dictating that tempo, especially when you come into the fourth quarter with a large lead. If they get the ball back, which they most likely will because this defense has been doing so well, expect them to keep the ball on the ground. It keeps the clock moving. It keeps the flow in their ability to control.
So Trujillo's punt is away. Harris back to receive it, and it looks like he's going to catch this one and makes a nice spin move and another nice cut, and he's going to be brought down by number 59. That's Devin Ray, the linebacker out of Westlake Village and Westlake High School. Very good high school football program over there at Westlake. And I believe when Ray was there, they did win the Southern section. So, big high school for Devin Ray coming in. And now he's playing at a smaller school, but you see him getting some playing time late here.
And we'll see how Scott responds after having that terrific touchdown throw. You got to believe they're going to go back to Steckel. He's having such a good game.
So trips at the bottom of your screen. Scott back to pass. And they go to Steckel once again. And a nice hit by Tomashiro. But you just called it, Gary. Going to Steckel once again for a 6-yard gain. And it seems to be the theme for them tonight.
Well, I mean, it's essentially the only thing that's actually been going for them. Kwame Doe not having a very good night. The Chapman Panthers kind of have his number on the night, so Steckel appears to be the only positive on this team. They're going right back to
Steckel
him
again. So the Chapman defense playing off with some cushion this drive compared to the last one where, you know, they weren't converting as many hitch routes and, you know, they were able to get to Steckel deep. So they're trying to avoid that, but that means they're giving up stuff underneath. Now we've got another 1st and 10 with the ball inside Chapman territory after the 2 Steckel catches. And looks like we've got 1st and 10 at the Panthers 45. Steckel in the gun. Back to pass. He's got Harris over the middle and brought down hard by number 95. That's Connor Svetley. And that's that piece we saw on Svetley at the half.
Absolutely, and for the Panthers, they don't want to give up that big play like you're talking about, so they give the little bit of a cushion. But then Occidental takes advantage of that, as you see here on the replay, dropping down these short 5-yard passes, allowing their players to make something after they get the initial reception.
Scott not finding anyone open. He scrambles down to the Chapman sideline. He's taken out of bounds by number 59. That's Devin Ray once again.
This Panthers defense not looking as sharp as they did earlier in the game. We talk about how a physical game can kind of take its toll despite the fact that they're constantly conditioning to be in good shape. Both teams play very up-tempo, quite tiring, you'd imagine.
So 3rd and 3 here. Scott, the quick bubble pass out to Harris. He gets up the field for a first down. Looks like we have a flag on the play, and usually when you see it, it's going to be a holding call, so we'll see what the call is. But nice job by Harris, who did some dancing to get up the field, but we've got a flag down.
Holding, offense.
That's right, it's going to be
Number
holding
14,
against
10
Occidental.
yards from the previous spot. Replay 3rd down.
So that's going to move them back. And it's going to be a replay of 3rd down. Looks like it's 3rd and 12 for Occidental here.
Wiping out both of those short passes to get them a couple of yards. You talk about, you give them a cushion, they take advantage of it, they get a few yards, they get some momentum. Holding penalty wipes all of that out.
So here's Scott on 3rd and 12. Gets about to the flat. Drew DeMarco reads it perfectly and makes a nice tackle after a gain of about 3. That's going to bring up 4th down. Guardy, one thing that you were talking about maybe last week was that Chapman now, with these 2 big victories ensuing tonight, if they can pull it out, kind of developing a program and establishing a program for themselves after kind of putting themselves on the map. You know what I mean?
Yeah, Sam, and especially, we talked about it a little bit earlier, we'll continue to talk about it with 24 seniors on the team. They really consider this their project. We'll get to it after this play.
Trip to the top of your screen, 4th and 11. And Scott's going to be sacked, it looks. And he gets it off real quick, actually not sacked. And then number 25, Max Gruber. So Scott nearly sacked, then gets the quick dump off to Gruber, and Gruber trips, and they actually lose yards on the play.
Scott doing his best Ben Roethlisberger impression, avoiding sackers, 3, 4 of them, still getting the pass off, but too little, too late. Here you see, takes one off, rolls away, another, he's able to dump it off. Looked like a basketball pass. But yeah, going back to the thing about the seniors, they consider this their project. They've been here for 4 years, before they were in the SCIAC, before Chapman had the notoriety. You know, they've improved every year. They were 6-3, then 8-1. Now they're hoping to finish 8-1, hoping to go undefeated now in the SCIAC.
So here's Huizar on 1st and 10. The give. Huizar keeps it on the option and then pitches it out. That's number 27 with the nice move right there, Joe Muddy, the freshman running back out of La Canada, St. Francis High School.
And I think going back off of that, Sam, establishing the program like you were talking about, for these seniors, it means that then once they graduate, if they've taken Chapman's name to a level where people know that they have a strong football team, they believe that then they'll be able to recruit strong high school football players, specifically on the West Coast, Southern California, who are looking at a Division III football program.
And that's what you want to do. A SCIAC championship would sure look good. And here's Cable, gets past the first round of defenders for a big gain. About a 22-yard gain for Cable on that play.
Whether it's the first team offense, the second team offense, or the third team offense, you can tell they all practice under the same coach because they do the same things. Finding that hole, bouncing to the outside, making a tackler miss. Once again, the Panthers knocking on the door.
All right, so we've got 1st and goal from the 10 heading into the game now, heading into the end zone. Huizar in the gun, backs to both sides of him. And the give is to number 31. That's Blake Crandall, the freshman running back out of Tustin. So he's getting some touches now.
Some great opportunities for these freshmen. We were talking about with such a large senior class graduating, you want to have a strong depth, which they certainly have. But for a freshman to get this type of experience in a SCIAC game, you know, it's essentially a playoff-like atmosphere, despite the fact, you know, it's 52-14, but still playing in a game that does have serious conference implications. Very big for
these guys are taking
freshmen.
advantage of any reps they can get. Just getting comfortable on the field in a college uniform compared to high school is huge. And he keeps it this time, pitches out to Cobble. He's in for the touchdown. So a well-executed option by Huizar, pitches it out. And that's a touchdown for the Panthers, who go up 58-14.
Weezer saw that the pitch worked 2 plays earlier, did it again, ends in 6. Like we said, these players all practice together. They all watch the first team guys do it. They watch McKibbins, they watch Stansel, and then when they get their opportunity, they do it just as well. Interesting point, Cobble has had now a touchdown in 2 consecutive games, and he's a 3rd-string running back. So just goes to show, really anyone can have a big night for this Chapman team. They practice hard, they work hard, they watch a lot of film, they bought into this system, they believe Chapman football. You see them walking around campus wearing Chapman football gear. I talked to Greg Johnson, I talked to Davies. They said, look, when we were freshmen, people didn't have this swagger about Chapman football. Now they do. They want people to know they play football because they lead the league. They lead SCIAC in attendance. People support, they love this team, and that all starts from this senior class who's bought into Chapman football. It's selfless. They're bigger than the team. They want this success more than anything else.
And you mentioned building a program. This senior class having a great season this year and putting Chapman on the map only enhances recruiting, and that only means bigger things for Chapman coming down the road. So, good things right now for Chapman football after so far this season and coming off of last year.
Well, right before the kickoff, but yeah, I spoke to Spencer Jordan, and he said it's a domino effect. If we put our name on the national level, then, and if we do well, win the SCIAC this year, all ifs, but if that happens, then it's a domino effect because then you get the recruits. Then you establish better recruits coming out of high school.
Harris makes a nice cut and brought down around the 25-yard line.
And then as that domino effect, you keep increasing the level of talent, you keep increasing the notoriety, and hopefully the SCIAC championships continue.
So 59-14 is our score. We're in the 4th quarter now with 9 minutes and 24 seconds to play. And if we take a look at tonight's attendance, not as big as last week, but still got some fans in support tonight. 1,987 fans in attendance tonight. Great job by the Chapman support for coming out tonight.
However, last week, obviously it's a homecoming week, they set the record. Over 5,600 fans coming out, sold out. You had people standing in both end zones, doing a really good job, showing their support for this Chapman team, especially tonight with other events going on campus. To still get a considerable attendance is good, and like I said before, they lead the SCIAC in attendance.
Here's Occidental on 2nd down and about 6, trying to get back into this game and get something going. And it looks like he might get a first down there. New quarterback in the game for Occidental. It's number 12, Tom Stivers, the senior quarterback out of Pebble Beach, California. Nice golf course in Pebble Beach.
You talked about earlier feeling comfortable in these jerseys for the freshmen. I'd say you felt pretty comfortable in a high school football, didn't you?
That's
Sammy
right,
Football,
Gardy.
isn't that your nickname?
That's right, Gardy. I did play high school football. Decided not to play at Chapman, but I get to utilize my strengths in other areas. 1st and 10 for Occidental. And the give looks like to Gruber. It's funny you mentioned that, Gardy. It's cool to see guys like Davey that I played against, guys like Miles Owls at Torrey Pines, played against these guys the whole way through, and to see them on the field now and actually be able to call their game is a pretty cool feeling. And they're having a great game tonight.
No doubt about it. Everyone on this Chapman team seemingly having a good game. They're all making their assignments. Once again, I want to focus on that offensive line because it's easy to focus on the skill players who are making the plays, who are scoring the touchdowns, but it all starts with that line.
2nd and 6. Ball about the 45. They get out and bubble screen to Harris, and Harris gets around the edge for the first down. Been calling his name a lot tonight. He's been returning kicks and punts as well as some catches on offense.
And interestingly, we talked about that team mentality, that selfless buying in. Covering the football team throughout the season, talked to a lot of the main characters, the main guys who show up, who score the touchdowns, the McKibbins, Jimerson, Stansel. They all always tell me, you got to talk to the offensive line. You got to focus on the offensive line.
So here's Stivers, who goes deep, intended for number 13. That's Elijah Duran. It's incomplete. But the backup getting a chance to show what he can do with his arm on that play.
Once again, Occidental putting the ball in the air for these receivers to make a play. That's basically, Sam, all that's worked for them. Put the ball in the air where the wide receiver is going to have a chance. Not too many fireworks for the Occidental Tigers tonight.
But some nice fireworks there. And looks like we've got a 2nd and 10 for the Tigers. And the give is to Gruber. Tries to make a nice spin move. And a good hit by number 61, Alden Quartz, sophomore linebacker out of Malibu, California.
Good to see the Chapman defense keeping that intensity up, keeping those hits coming. You know that, especially for these younger guys, they're playing for roster spots. They're playing for next year because maybe they're not going to get the Redlands games or the Cal Lutheran games. However, when you play like this, when you keep the intensity up, everyone notices. The first team notices, Owens notices, the positional coaches notice. Always good to see that intensity.
So a 3rd and 9 for the Tigers. Stivers rolls out. Tries to get this one complete, and it is caught. That's number 13, Elijah Duran. And a nice play by Duran right there. It's going to be, looks like 4th and short, 4th and 1 for the Tigers, and they'll probably go for it here.
So one of the main storylines coming into this game was whether or not the Chapman defense could contain the run. You talk about them being the #1 rush defense in the league. However, Kwame Doe, big guy, fast, smart runner. That was one of the storylines heading into it. It appears that Occidental has almost abandoned the run now, sticking to the passing game. Chapman certainly had them covered when it came to the rushing offense.
They seem to have things figured out pretty well thus far. Give it to Gruber up the middle on 4th down, and they're going to push the pile towards Chapman. And looking at the spot, it looks like that's going to be a 1st down.
Well, on that play, making me look wrong. The running game getting it done for them.
That's a 1st down, and they'll have 1st and 10 at about the 39-yard line in Panthers territory. So a beautiful night here in Orange, California. I know when Gardy and I got up to the press box, the sun was setting, and you could see the Honda Center, home of the Angels, in the backdrop. But no place we'd rather play football in than this beautiful weather, about 70 degrees. It's been nice. The screen pass to Harris, and Harris makes a nice cut, avoiding 2 Chapman defenders before he's tackled. And that looks like it's number 38, Liam Lampert, with the big play.
And one thing, going back to what you were saying earlier about establishing Chapman as a football program, getting the support and having the support of the fans and the students at Chapman University has created a very enjoyable experience. You talked about coming here tonight. Wilson Field, Ernie Chapman Stadium, not a place you want to play at if you're a visiting team.
So the give is to Gruber again. He gets about 2 on the play. That's going to bring up about 3rd and 2 for the Tigers. So 59-14, 4 minutes and 25 seconds left in the game. Clock appears to be running. Occidental's running the ball more, and this game is slowly winding down.
I'm not a betting man. If I was, I would say Chapman Panthers are going to escape, remain undefeated in SCIAC. We'll see how the rest of the conference ends up to see these potential matchups, but you got to believe they're keeping their eyes on Cal Lutheran and Redlands.
I hope you're not a betting man, Gardy. That might hinder your broadcasting career. Stivers rolling out, can't find anyone open, and then he just throws this one away. It's overthrown. So 3 minutes and 50 seconds left to play. The clock stops after that incomplete pass. It's going to be 4th down and 2 for the Tigers, who really can't seem to get a lot going here late in this game.
Absolutely not. This game was over within the first 15 minutes of play. Chapman pounced early on. That's the storyline. They got the running game like we talked about going. That defense held Kwame Doe in check, made Scott make those bad passes. 59-14 with 3:51 remaining.
So the give is to Gruber, who looks like he's going to get enough for the 1st down. So the Tigers offense stays on the field.
Interesting decision, though, to take out your starting running back and quarterback for Occidental. You mentioned it earlier. At this point in the game, you want to maybe just get repetitions if you're the Occidental team. You don't want to get your players injured. Just move on to the next week, kind of like how the players on Chapman. It's a week-by-week look. If you have a bad game, you can only spend one day thinking about it. Then you got to move on to opponent number 6, opponent number 7.
That's right. I mean, if I'm Coach Doug Simonis, obviously he's thinking he doesn't want his guys getting injured, but since there's been no production, you at least want these guys to get repetition. He keeps it, gets around the nice for a bootleg. That's Tom Stivers. And a great play fake there as they've been going to the run all drive and then play it, and then the read option fake, a good decision to keep it.
Looked like they took a page out of the Chapman's playbook. Leahy did that play perfection earlier on. When you establish that run we talked about, then the defense starts reacting to it, and then you do the fake. Oftentimes you can get.
1st and 10 for the Tigers. Ball on the 16-yard line. Give is to Gruber, who's got a big hole up the middle, and he's in for 6. A touchdown for Occidental Tigers, and gives them a little bit of cheering on their sideline, but I think it's too little too late, Gardner.
Absolutely. Just as we were talking about the Chapman defensive intensity, it looked like no one was playing on that. He split the defense straight up the middle for the touchdown. If you're Chapman, you want to make sure you play hard for the remaining 2 minutes and 45 seconds. Your first team did such an exceptional job to get that lead, and then right here just making a missing that tackle, allowing them to tack on some points.
So that extra point is good. 59-21. 2 minutes and 45 seconds left in the game. And there's the play again right there as he just breaks a nice tackle and gets in for 6. Let's take a look at the remaining schedule for both teams. Next week, Chapman goes at Kowloon for a tough one, and Occidental hosting Claremont for another game there. And the big one, though, is going to be at Redlands on November 8th for Chapman. If they want any chance at winning Skyhock this season, that's going to be one only win, isn't it, Gardy?
Absolutely, but at the same time, you can't overlook any of the games because essentially if Redlands continues to play well, if Cal Lutheran continues to play well, for Chapman, you want to win out. You can't say one game is more important. That's the mentality they're taking, but absolutely, whether or not they're going to tell us when we talk to them, that Redlands game has to be circled on each and every one of their calendars. They took the Skyhock away from the Panthers last year, who had an incredible season. The Panthers hoping to come back and take that right back from them this season.
So I've got the final score from that Florida State Notre Dame game, the big number 2 versus number 5 in Division I. Florida State won it 31-27.
And Notre Dame getting a late touchdown, I believe with 13 seconds left, that was negated. So drama in that game, a lot more drama in that game than in this game. 59-21 with just a little bit over 2 minutes and 30 seconds. We'll see what the Panthers opt to do on offense. Sam, I'm going to guess they're going to go to the run.
I agree with you on that one, Gardy. And on special teams, that time it was number 17, Devin Kelly. You know who this guy reminds me of? He's like the Kasim Osgood of the Chapman Football Panthers team. Kasim Osgood is a Pro Bowl special teams player. Goes to the Pro Bowl almost every season solely for his play on special teams. And that's what Kelly's been able to do and use his strengths for this season.
I think you just educated 99% of the viewers on Kasim Osgood.
Kasim Osgood. Currently plays for the 49ers. A new quarterback in for the Panthers. It's number 14, Andrew Chavez. Keeps that one himself and gets about 4.
If you're the Panthers, I think you come away from this game extremely content. Obviously, you don't like seeing the team score these late touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I think they'll definitely talk about that. They want to finish strong. However, they really were able to do offensively everything they wanted. Defensively, when they had the starters in, they played well, they covered well, especially after that first Occidental score. Seemed like the secondary made some adjustments. They were able to key in on those wide receivers, and they completely blanketed Doe all night.
Chavez in the gun on 2nd and 5. This time the gives to Blake Crandall, and he's stopped right around the line of scrimmage for no gain. So Chapman running the ball, burning out the clock. We've got 1:40 left to play now. Scores Chapman 59, Occidental 21.
Another thing we talked about heading into this game, which they have done, is control the tempo, dictating the flow. They've been able to really take as much time as they need, never really considering the clock, especially when you have a lead like that comes with it. But definitely a good job by the Panthers to establish that run game early.
That's right. 3rd and 6 for Chapman. Chavez in the gun. And he's going to give this one to Crandall, who can't get anywhere as number 30 for Occidental. That's Christian Clark, the freshman, making a nice play, and he's fired up after that one. And the tackle for loss, getting in late in the game as a freshman, making a play like that, there's nothing that's going to build your spirits more.
You love seeing that, even when they're down big, when they know there's no coming back, keeping that intensity on both sides of the ball. Definitely good, like you said, for the young athlete.
So Trujillo back to punt, and Harris looks to return. And the clock is running now, 26 seconds left. And he's just trying to burn some time here. Looks like they called a timeout. Delay of game, actually.
Number 13, 5-yard penalty. Still 4th down.
So delay of game knocks him back 5 yards. Still 4th down, and we've got 20 seconds left on the clock here at Ernie Chapman Stadium.
And Chapman doing exactly what they wanted to do all game long. They'll come away, stay undefeated. Coach Owens has to be happy.
And this kicks back to Harris. And that's a fair catch right there. So Occidental's probably going to take the field one more time, and this Chapman defense is going to wrap things up. But a big, big win for the Chapman Panthers tonight, 59-21.
Pushing that SCIAC record to 3-0. These seniors getting another chance to keep chasing that SCIAC championship, that elusive championship that they have yet to get. They've been incredibly successful in the SCIAC since joining. Yet another example why 59-21.
So 1st and 10. We probably have 2 plays left in the game. Stivers is the quarterback. And the give is to number 47. That's Connor Williams, the freshman out of Claremont. We're going to wrap things up for the game, and when we come back, we've got the Chapman post-game show. But, Gardy, tonight, what were some things that stuck out for you?
Things that stuck out for me that I was most impressed with, I would say, is how versatile the Chapman offense is. We knew they were going to run the ball, and they certainly ran the ball. McKibbins had success, Dolberry had success, Keen Stansel, they all had success. However, what impressed me, and something that I think for the team it would impress them, especially when you have games like Cal-Lou coming up next week, when you have Redlands on November 8th, you're not going to only be able to rely on the run as that team. These defenses are going to be better. They know Chapman. They've watched Chapman. They've prepared for Chapman. And so Leahy's ability to get that play at the end of the half and to put the ball in the air, and Owen's confidence in Leahy to get that done and to have success throwing the ball, I think is incredibly important for this Chapman confidence for moving forward, wanting to finish the season strong, to get that SCIAC championship and hopefully move on to the playoffs.
I couldn't agree with you more, Gardy. So a big win for the Chapman Panthers, who are wearing the red tops tonight instead of the black. And the defensive side of the ball, they played well also, only letting up 21 points. They put up 59. Obviously, they saw where they could use some work covering that big Steckel number 19. So we're going to toss to break real quick, and when we come back, we'll have the Chapman post-game report. You're watching the Chapman Broadcast Network. All right, welcome back. I'm Sam Miller alongside Gardy Royce. 59-21, our final score. So we're going to send it down to our reporter, Sammy Harrelson, down on the sideline. She's with Jeremiah McKibbins. Sammy, what do you got for us?
Obviously, a big win for the Chapman Panthers today. I'm here with Jeremiah McKibbins. Jeremiah, 2 best teams in the SCIAC Conference, obviously proved you were much better than them tonight. How does it feel?
Feels good. It shows that we worked really hard this week, and some of the things we've been preaching about all season is about starting strong and also finishing strong as well. And we've been doing that for like the past 2 or 3 games, so it feels good.
Awesome. And you struggled a little bit the first couple games, but you've had 2 of the last 3 with over 100 yards rushing. What's been the key to turning it around for you this season?
I just take it one step at a time. It's not like one specific thing. I'm just taking it one day at a time and one practice at a time. And also our old linemen, they're really getting after it. So I think that's probably the big difference.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
No problem.
Thank you. Go. Thank you, bud. I'll see you in the
Guardy and Sam, back up to you.
All right, thanks, Sammy. And so, Guardy, what are you going to take away from this game? 59-21, a lot of things to break down, but what are some big storylines for you tonight?
I think for me, Sam, coming on the heels, like we talked about, of the huge blowout victory against Pomona homecoming, I didn't think they were going to replicate that in terms of just the vast score. They put up 58. They held them to nothing, Pomona to nothing. Tonight they did it again, and they did it the same way, establishing the run early on and establishing the run with multiple running backs. You have McKibbins, who got hot early. Then Keen Stansel broke a couple runs that was really, really nice. And then Chappell came in, and then Cobble came in, and then Dolberry came in. So you're talking about 6 running backs who all have the ability to break these plays, to score, to find the end zone. And then the defense. We talk about that tight defense, that smart defense, the aggressive defense. They love creating turnovers. They love forcing fumbles, looking for the interceptions. I was impressed overall by the team. The late touchdowns don't help, especially when you're going against the Redlands. You don't want to be giving up fourth quarter interception.
All right, well,
touchdown.
we've got our full game highlights right now. Let's take a look at those. And here goes McKibbins.
Early on, McKibbins, like we talked about, getting going. His legs look better as the weeks go on. Here, McKibbins again, you see him reading the defense, taking the hits, keep moving. Once again, McKibbins, boom, he makes that first initial cut. Then he gets to the outside.
Vision.
You see that great vision. You see that speed that he's been working on so long. Then you see Leahy dancing. Oh, he's reading. And then he keeps it. Those wheels on him are spinning. He's looking for the end zone. He's smelling touchdown. Ooh, he almost flips it in. They would score on the next possession. Here you got Chappell busting it onto the outside. Like we said before, if you hit him, wrap him up, because he is not going to go down. The freshman wide receiver, he had an incredible game. Talking a lot about those freshmen getting repetition, and then here's Leahy. The beautiful pass over the shoulder to Myers, who's able to stay on his feet, find his end zone, tack on 6 more. And then, here you go, another run, and he just goes off to the races. It's a foot race, and no one is catching him. He would score again. Every single of these running backs, they had an incredible night. Another one, and Dolberry picks it up. He's off to the races. It was at this point that Occidental just appeared like they were crumbling. Luckily, they did get it back, make it a little bit competitive, so that Chapman third-string defense had something to work with.
Great job by this Chapman offense. And here you see Cobble, the 4th-string running back, getting down inside the 10. And then later, it's Cobble once again on the option play. And a great job by Huizar to see that. And that was the touchdown that capped on the 59 points. So if we take a look at the full game stats, and a great 59-21 victory for the Chapman Panthers. For my partner Gardner Royce and Sammy Harrelson, thanks for watching. I'm Sam Miller. We'll see you next time on the Chapman Broadcast Network.